at the Great Western Forum, and at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, the story was the Jets' Rick Cavaracci. 17 saves, many of them sensational, including this one late in the third period for Winnipeg as they won. The former Saskatoon Blade and Cornwall Royal paving the way for victory for the visitors. And to celebrate, head coaches Ted Green and John Paddock get their first ever playoff victories. Didn't come easy for Paddock. Now we get set for Game 2. The Canucks and the Jets and the Kings and the Oilers as we carry along the trail on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Good evening and welcome to our continuing coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC television. From Vancouver, I'm Ron McLean with Steve Armitage in Los Angeles. And Steve, for 3 days now, I've been trying to get Don Cherry on side to be a fan of Pavel Bure. Do you think there's any hope?
Ron, trust me on this one. It won't be too long before Great puts Bure in a class with two of his other favorites, Bobby Smuts and Bobby Orr.
A lot of people here think you're right, and you know, despite the fact that the Canucks lost Saturday in Game 1, the mood is still rather positive. They think their team is young and can turn it around, get a little more in the way of offense with shots on goal. But I wonder about the mood at the Forum. How is it in L.A.?
Ron, I've cut a lot of playoff games down here at the Great Western Forum, and I've never heard the fans boo like they did in the game, the opener against the Oilers, and for good reason. The Kings were 0-9 on the power play and only had 9 shots. The fans had every reason to boo their Kings.
Right, I think the Vancouver Canucks would also like to improve their power play. Steve, we'll return to you in Los Angeles in just a moment. There you see the gathering. Again, 16,000 supporters of the Vancouver Canucks with their super fan pom-poms getting all set for this confrontation, and trying to get back at it are the Canucks against the Winnipeg Jets. Just before we set the scene on Game 2 here at the Pacific Coliseum this evening, we're going to go back to the sights and sounds of Game 1 and look at how the crowd reacted. As you'd expect, the home team was welcomed with a standing O, and the fanometer went wild. In the second period, Vancouver Canuck penalty killing brought the crowd to its feet. And the electrifying Pavel Bure brought thousands of hands together. But then in the third period, the roar of the Jets silenced BC. Check with the game-winning goal on Saturday. The Jets, counting the regular season, have won 6 in a row. They're unbeaten in 9. But if it's solace to Canuck fans, Game 1 over the last 5 years hasn't meant a thing. In best-of-7 first-round series, the teams winning Game 1 have only prevailed 18 of 40 times, while on 35 of 40 occasions, the club that wins Game 2 has gone on to win the series. So if you believe in stats, you think tonight is a big night. For their thoughts, let's go upstairs to Chris Cuthbert and John Garrett. Fellas?
Well, Ron, John Garrett liked the goaltenders duel in Game number 1, but Pat Quinn didn't. He wants to see more offense out of his team, in particular one line.
That's right. Larionov and Bure, they both scored. Their line played pretty well offensively. But the other big line with Ronning, Portnoy, and Linden, they didn't have enough shots. They didn't generate enough good scoring chances. They've really struggled down the stretch, and they have to shoot the puck at the net. That's how you break out of the slump.
Just 4 goals in the last 10 games for that unit. Now, John Paddock said he was happy with his team, good workmanlike effort, and that really was epitomized by 2 center icemen.
They played well in a disciplined style all year, and that's epitomized in their 2 centermen, Mike Eagles and Troy Murray. They're leaders defensively, and that's how this team wins. They win on faceoffs, they win in their own zone, and with Eagles and Troy Murray, they can do it.
Well, they certainly have put the heat on the Vancouver Canucks here. A must-win situation for the home team. That's the same case in Los Angeles and the Kings as we go to the Great Western Forum. And Steve.
Thank you, Chris. It's been said many times that playoffs are won with solid net mining and good defense. The Oilers' defense was a huge question mark heading into the 1992 playoffs. Kevin Lowe and Craig Muni are both out with injuries. Now, that kind of playoff experience on the blue line is very difficult to replace, if not impossible. From the Oilers' starting defenseman that advanced to the conference final last year, only Norm McIver is skating against the Los Angeles Kings in the first round in 1992. And you can add two more Oiler names to that list of walking wounded. Semenoff and Simpson both are out with shoulder injuries. Our team, however, is healthy and in fine voice for Game 2. Let's join Don Whitman and Jim Paplitzky.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, everybody. Jim, obviously, special team play was a factor in the Game 1 3-1 Edmonton victory, but there were other reasons for Edmonton's success.
Well, it's very, very important to be strong 5-on-5. I don't think you can depend on a power play or a penalty-killing opportunity to make the difference in a game. Edmonton was better 5-on-5, and that's what Los Angeles has to do. When they had success this year, they ended up having success because their power play gave them some jump at the start of a game. That didn't happen 2 nights ago. Their 5-on-5 has got to be better.
Edmonton, a team that was 21st in penalty killing during the regular season, shutting down the Los Angeles Kings, giving them just 9 shots in 9 power play opportunities. And you know, the Los Angeles Kings feel that they will come out with much more jump in tonight's hockey game. They've been an inconsistent team during the course of the regular season.
Well, that's why you wonder if they can make it all the way to the Cup. You've got to be consistent over a couple of months, and it's difficult for a team to do that all of a sudden when they haven't been consistent. They had a 90-minute workout yesterday. They were on the ice this morning a lot longer than they were before Game 1. Let's see if it makes a difference.
Kelly Rudy leading them onto the ice. Now let's return to Vancouver and Ron McLean.
Okay, Don, and as you can see and hear, the Vancouver Canucks are getting loads of vocal support as they try to get back on even terms in their series with the Jets. And Kirk McLean in goal. There's a great base. Tiger Williams among the 16,123 on hand. They talked about the butterflies in Game 1. I know Agriculture Canada spraying for gypsy moths out here. Maybe that'll help Vancouver this evening. Trevor Linden, big expectations of the Canuck captain in this game tonight. 2 other games this evening in the Norris Division. One is a final. Minnesota, what a shocker. They win again at Detroit. They have a stranglehold on that series, leading 2-0 heading to the Met Center in Bloomington. And Eddie Belfour has been yanked at the game at the stadium. Hasek is now in. It's 4-3. Jeff Brown with the go-ahead goal. The Blues leading the Blackhawks. They could square that affair at a game apiece if that lead holds up. So tonight, you will see in Manitoba and BC the Jets and the Canucks. Well, for the national audience, it's the Oilers and Kings on Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC is brought to you by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about. By Ford of Canada, where quality is job one, it's working. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates, you're on your way with Esso. And by Pepsi, gotta have it.
Today, Pepsi announced a new slogan. Mere words? Or is the taste of Pepsi so big, America's really got to have it?
Gotta have it. It's something I felt for years, but never had the words to express.
If it's so popular, how come everybody's drinking it?
Henry's only regret is that he started
to strike at his alma mater, Boston University. Lume intercepts a pass, watched by Davidoff, centers it out in front. Roning's there, steered away by Tabarachi. Carlisle took Momesso into the net heavily. Penalty coming up, and now Sandlak gets his stick up and tempers Claire early here. Randy Carlisle going to the penalty box as Don Koharski assesses the first minor at 1:23 of this opening period, and we were watching Randy Carlisle.
Mismatch in size, but Carlisle on Momesso made sure right there he gets Momesso's feet. But look at him tie up Momesso's stick as well. And the puck come across, there's no way Sergio Momesso would have got a stick on that one.
So an early chance for the Canucks on the power play.
Winnipeg Jets going with the same lineup as they did in Game 1. When you're winning, you don't usually change. Dean Kennedy is skating, but not expected back until the middle of May. Lucien Dedois, I'm sure, will be used somewhere along the line, along with Doug Evans.
Asked John Paddock earlier today whether or not he was thinking of making changes. He said, well, my lineup isn't set yet. He, I think, was toying with the idea of Dedois, but cardinal rule of coaching, at least Don Cherry taught me, you don't break up a winning lineup.
In the playoffs on the road, when you win Game 1, why change? Tabarachi is one of those goaltenders. We saw Tom Draper dehydrated. Tabarachi goes through about 3 of those water bottles per period.
Well, this will be interesting because the Canucks were 0 for 6 on the power play in Game 1, 6 for 53, or 11% against the Jets this year.
Again, to start the penalty killing for the Jets, they had Eagles and Murray out to take the face-off. They win the draw and get it down.
Here comes Lariana. Drops it for Lume, broken up by Numanen. And Bure playing the point here on the power play as he did late in the year. Adams has trouble with it. He's knocked over by Eagles. Lume. It's the blue line. Adams breaking on the right side, but Sykes knocked down Lume. Now it's Bure. Spins away from Eagles. Sets it up. In it goes. Adams turned, couldn't get the shot away. Broken up by Numanen and sent down the ice with 1:06 to go in the man advantage.
Teppo Numanen doing a good job anticipating well. Not the strongest guy in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but a good skater. Picked the pass off and got it down.
Here comes Momesso. Fires it in. No Canucks were with him, so it was an easy clear for Ulanoff.
That's one of the things Pat Quinn said after Game 1 was his team had a lot of unintelligent shoot-ins, and there was a diagonal one with nobody skating. The Jets got back easily and cleared the zone.
Momesso this time shoots it in. It goes to Troy Murray. Kicks it behind the goal. Olesen can't clear it. Pinching in is Dave Babbitt, rotting in the corner. Feeds back to Momesso. There's the shot! And hit a leg in front, and Tabarachi was fooled on it. Babbitt again. 18 seconds left in the man advantage. Babbitt puts it in front. Here's a chance for Ronning. Backhands it wide. Murray off the boards. Ronning is there. And now it's cleared by Shannon. Past Steve Babbitt down the ice.
Couple of shots for the Vancouver Canucks, but long-range shots that Tabarachi didn't have a whole lot of trouble with. The Canucks again not setting up on the power play.
They're now 0 for 7 in the series. Trevor Linden's on the ice.
A power play right away, only they capitalized on the opportunity. Gretzky behind the net will find Paul Coffey, who scores his first goal of the playoffs for Wayne Gretzky. His 300th career playoff point, and Los Angeles leads Edmonton 1-0, 46 seconds in.
Trevor Linden trying to go to the net and using his size gets high stick. And here a good solid hit on Troy Murray.
For the face-off, Tabarachi grabs it and holds on, and sticks get high between Housley and Sergio Momesso.
I thought we'd see more of this in Game 1, where after the whistle, a little more contact. Gary Falk, Ryan Walter getting to play. They didn't play much in Game 1. They killed some penalties for Pat Quinn, but didn't play as a line. This is the Canucks' fourth line, led by Ryan Walter.
The face-off, Jets control. Housley can't clear it, but gets it back again. Walter intercepts. In behind for Gary Balk. Balk feeds back to the point. Adrian Plavsic, the shot drifts high and wide. Canucks hustling after it, though. Cron into Walter. And Balk, and it's broken up and cleared by Thomas Steen down the ice. Steen with Davidoff and Olczyk. And here's Evgeny Davidoff. Watched by Lidster. Lidster takes him out of the play, and the Canucks clear it. Lead pass to Olczyk, gives it Davidoff. The return pass missed Olczyk. Now it's Davidoff back inside the line. Hits the wrist shot, easily handled by McLean. Plavsic, checked by Davidoff at the side of the net. Here's Steen behind the goal. Check that Olczyk, Steen's in front. And a check by Plavsic. Balk off the boards out to center. Numanen, Jets on a line change. Over the boards comes Aaron Broughton along with Pat Elnick, and here comes Linden. Pinched out of the play by Teppo Numanen. Took it Tkachuk. Numminen checks his man. That's Lawler. Ahead. Elnick just sidestepped the check. Here's Tkachuk into the zone, and he's cut off at the pass by Robert Dirk. Jeff Courtnall tries to clear it. Now we have Fergus, Courtnall, and Linden. That's the line that the Canucks are hoping can really rally offensively tonight. Here's Lume breaking in. Lume to Courtnall, and I think Ulanov got a stick on it. Back it goes to Dirk. Shot deflected high off the stick of Fergus over the glass.
Here, Jyrki Lume makes a pass instead of shooting. Now look at where Lume is, and look at where he tries to pass it to. He's right in the middle, and then tries to slide it to the side to Jeff Courtnall. Ulanov read the play well and deflects the pass, but I don't know why Jyrki Lume didn't try and shoot that one on his forehand in the middle. An unwise pass.
Pat Quinn criticized his team after Game 1, said they were too cute in the offensive zone. The extra pass was often made instead of the shot. There's Ulanov, who is wearing a full face shield tonight because he has a broken sinus bone, the result of blocking a shot by Jim Sandlak in Game 1. Aaron Shannon clears it in. He's on a line with Chris Draper and Troy Murray for Winnipeg. Larionov, Adams, and Bure for Vancouver. There's a chance for Murray, chops at it, and Kirk McLean hangs on.
The Larionov line is very good offensively, but in their own zone they have some problems. Chris Draper out against Pavel Bure. Played 4 playoff games for the Moncton Hawks this year. That was one of the disadvantages of the strike for the minor league teams. Vancouver's farm team was eliminated 2 nights ago.
Another advantage of this line is they have the 2 centers who can take the draw, Draper and Murray. 14-14 to go, first period. No score between the Canucks and the Jets. The Jets on a 9-game unbeaten streak. They've won their last 4 straight on the road. They'll be happy to get home after finishing the regular season with a road trip and not getting a chance to get back to Winnipeg to prepare for these playoffs, icing the call against Vancouver.
One of the acquisitions of Mike Smith and the Winnipeg Jets, Mike Lawler, came over for Paul McDermott as Brad Schlegel joined the Washington Capitals. The Capitals felt that Lawler was expendable. You see, he's always a high plus-minus player, a steadying influence on this defense, and a defensive defenseman. And you look at the Winnipeg Jets, Housley, Olofsson, and Numminen, a stay-at-home defensive defenseman is a valuable commodity, and that's what they got in Mike Lawler.
Playing his 75th playoff game tonight. Of course, a member of the '86 Canadiens Stanley Cup winning team. It's Draper against Fergus on this faceoff. Draper tied up, and Trevor Linden has control for the Canucks. Babbage on the far side will turn and lead the Canucks out of the zone. Left wing to Courtnall. Hits the line with Linden, but it's broken up. The Jets dump it down the ice, giving chases Davidoff. Davidoff against Diddick. I thought the most physical of the Canucks defenseman in Game 1, and Diddick made the play there. Here's Fergus. Left side Courtnall. Linden digging on right wing. Here's a pass for Fergus, and he fails to redirect it. Now it's Courtnall behind the net. Chance for Diddick. Shot right on. Loose puck, and Tabaracci with the clear. Davidoff let it go by him down the ice. Vlasic back to touch it. Then
Real life beer.
Vancouver Canucks with the same lineup. I thought Gino Wojcik might dress for the Vancouver Canucks tonight, more of a physical presence, but Robert Cron is back in. Peter Nedved again sitting out. And Dana Merzen played pretty well down the stretch. I thought he might get back into the lineup.
And there's a look at Ulanov wearing the extra protection for at least the next week to 10 days after taking that Sandlak shot in the opener. Here's a chance by Sandlak right off the faceoff. Lidster moving in. Murray bumps him. Ulanov behind the goal. Wraps it around the boards and Phil Sykes. The veteran, 33 years of age, takes it into the zone. Eagles give chase against Sandlak. Big hit there. And a penalty coming up. And it's going to be Sandlak, who doesn't like the call, nor does the capacity crowd here at the Pacific Coliseum. Jets going on the power play for the first time.
Goodyear does fine tune-ups. Want additional proof? Roll that tune-up film gourd.
Across this great dominion of ours, Goodyear retailers are gearing up for the big one. Goodyear's Giant Tire Sale. Great savings on selected Goodyear tires. So don't be late. See your Goodyear retailer today.
The Goodyear Tire Sale ends May 9th.
Gord, what happened to the tune-up film? Uh-huh.
Mike Hartman is skating over to the penalty box along with Jim Sandlak. Sandlak had the original penalty, a hit on Mike Eagles. But after the play, Hartman hit Cliff Ronning. Now here's the original play. Now Mike Eagles is never one to shy away from a hit. A good solid hit, but watch this. Sandlak, after he had him down, gave him a shot. And Mike Hartman, after the whistle, gave Cliff Ronning a little shot and took a roughing penalty. Ronning went back at Hartman, but Hartman was caught for the original infraction. He will play at even strength.
So much for the Jets' first power play opportunity. I think Eagles got under the Canucks' skin a bit in the first game. He played that robust style of his and handed out some good body checks.
And here's Sergio Momesso, and there's much more emotion on that Vancouver bench, something that in Game 1 was sorely lacking for the Smythe Division champions. They played with a lot of emotion the first 4 months of the season. They regained it here in Game 2.
I didn't see the initial hit by Hartman on Ronning, but Ronning really did give him the stick afterwards, well after the penalty was called. So they continue to play. 5 skaters aside as Lariana hits the line, breaks through Newman, and just slowed him up in time. Greg Adams. Lister chops it to the corner. Bure just got rid of it, and it's Housley clearing it outside the line. Housley played 46 minutes in Game 1. A couple of minutes less than his seasonal average. Newman and off the boards. Troy Murray. Catching up on the play is Darren Shannon. Classic has Murray tied up. Murray fighting for it in the corner against Shannon. Look at Murray stay with it, though. Still with possession. Plastic still on him, and now Murray takes over. And he lost possession to Draper. Housley to Troy Murray. He lets it slide into the zone. Lume touches it, icing the call once again against Winnipeg.
In a good face-off team like the Winnipeg Jets, you don't mind taking the odd icing call, and Pavel Bure showed some frustration in Game 1. He took a couple of retaliation penalties when being shadowed by Chris Draper. When Bure came to the blue line many times in Game 1, we saw the Jets double-team him, anticipating that Bure would not pass the puck to try for one of those highlight reel-type goals. Being talked to by Pat Quinn as he talked to his 2 Soviet players. They both speak pretty good English, so that's an advantage for Quinn. He can go down and doesn't need a translator.
Exactly 8 minutes gone in the first period. Murray moves quickly as Steen and Fergus get set for this face-off. Fergus won it, but almost too cleanly. Pulled it back right by Lume down the ice. Up to Linden. Portnoy. Watched by Steen. Davidoff hit by Lume, but here's Steen. Working in against Portnoy. Drops Davidoff. Shot right on. McLean covers up with Steen on the doorstep, and Robert Dirk roughed him up. And now Fergus moves in. So the emotions running a little higher than in the opener on Saturday night.
Who gives their customers what they want in a car? Gets input from them at every stage of new product development to find out exactly what they're looking for. Who builds 5 out of the top 10 best-selling vehicles in North America? The Ford Motor Company. That's who.
With your help, our quality gets better all the time.
The Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one. It's working.
At the Great Western Forum, the Edmonton Oilers have leapt ahead of the Kings with 2 goals 24 seconds apart. Should this one count? Bernie Nichols goes in the crease. The puck comes out, and then he gets it back, and it actually caroms in off his skate blade. No intent there, but Don Cherry doesn't think it should count, although he said his buddy Bernie scored it, so he'll let it go. David Maley then scores to make it 2-1 for Edmonton from Scott Mellanby, and that's both goals 24 seconds apart in the first 7 minutes at LA.
And Ron, of the final scores we've had so far in these Stanley Cup playoffs, the away team has won 5, and the visitors in Los Angeles leading again tonight. Canucks have not, only once this year, lost 2 straight games at home as Linden feeds Fergus. Portman loose, Fergus in, great save, Tabaracci, and Fergus couldn't knock it out of the air with Tabaracci down. Quinn wanted more offense out of this line, almost got it there.
A great save by Rick Tabaracci. Tom Fergus on his forehand, the left-hand shot. Good angle. Now look at Tabaracci standing up well, waits for the forward to take the shot, gets enough of it to get it up and on top of the net. Fergus waved at that one, but I think he would have hit it with a high stick had he made contact anyway. Another big save by Rick Tabaracci.
Tom Fergus with just 1 goal in his last 10 games after a great start here in Vancouver.
Had a 10-game point streak when he first came over from the Toronto Maple Leafs. So excited about getting a chance to play again. But as you say, has slumped recently.
7-4, shots on goal, favor Canucks, who seem to have more jump tonight. There's Linden after it against Housley, and Linden wins the battle. Puts it back to the point, Lume tees it up. There's Linden in front, they score! Has been the story for the last few weeks. They need to get some confidence, and that could be a big confidence boost. Canucks lead 1-0. 8:54, the time of the goal. Fergus from Linden and Lume. Here's Dave Babbitt. Left side to Adams. He clears it in. Bure giving chase. Lumen clears it around the boards. They are now announcing Jeff Portnoy gets the assist, not Lume. So the officials may check that at the end of the period. Right now, Fergus from Linden and Portnoy.
Trevor Linden made the good play, digging the puck out of the corner to get it back to Lume for the original shot. Tom Fergus used his size going to the net, got position on Keith Tkachuk, and was rewarded when the puck squirted out his way. No chance for Rick Tabaracci.
Talked to Tom this morning. He really enjoys it out on the West Coast. We will be watching this line with our feature game within a game tonight, and already 3 shots on goal and a goal. They had just the 4 shots in game number 1. That message from the coach got through.
He's had the message going for a while, and this line they've looked disorganized. They've played without much confidence, but maybe this will turn it around.
Gerald Pinnock clears it in. Tabaracci stops it for Mike Lawler. Shannon with Draper and Murray, and the Jets head out to center ice, and now change it up as the checking line goes to the bench. Steen, Davidoff, and Olczyk come out. This is the scoring line for Winnipeg. Savage hands it to Davidoff. He's bucked by Robert Cron. Gary Volk in turn hit by Newman. Lawler around the boards for Olczyk, the hero of game 1. Volk intercepts the pass. right back in, and Tabarachi called upon. There's a penalty coming up against the Jets. And the crowd likes this. We're going to see the Canucks back on the power play. 9:55 left first period. Canucks lead, and they have a man advantage.
Ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be a pilot. And thanks to the bank, I was able to do that.
Through financial transactions, people plan for and achieve their dreams.
We just got a personal line of credit with the Bank of Montreal because we want to do renovations on the house.
At different times of your life, you need a bank for different reasons. We went to the bank looking for a pre-approved mortgage. Bank of Montreal helped make our dream come true.
Bank of Montreal's been great, you know. We can talk, you know, they're good for business.
Bank of Montreal, we're paying attention.
Takes a holding penalty, a lazy holding penalty as the long shot came in. Now watch Olczyk, this doesn't skate at all. His feet aren't going. He reaches around with the left hand on Gary Balk and takes the holding penalty. And the Jets, who have been outshot 10-4 already, now have to fill off another penalty.
It's Ronning with Linden and Momesso. Plavsic and Lume on the points. Brock goes past Plavsic out to center ice. Troy Murray, Mike Eagles, Randy Carlyle, and Frederick Olesen are the penalty killers for Winnipeg. Here comes Ronning. Tabarachi out of the goal. Look who's there first. Linden back to Plavsic. In for Momesso. He's checked on the play by Olesen, and Sykes gets it outside the line. Sykes now out with Eagles. And a pass for Eagles just missed. Here's Lume. Drips it in, and the fan's ducking, and it does go over the glass and out of play. With the Hockey Night in Canada update, here's Rod.
Thank you very much, Chris. We're going back to the Great Western Forum where the Kings have drawn even. Tony Granato gets it from Robitaille and Sandstrom. There's Robitaille with the pass to Granato, and then if you let it roll, you'll see Greg Hoggood come through and cross-check Granato in the back. Well, trust me, it happened. A 5-minute major on the play to Hoggood. So the Kings go on the power play with the game tied at 2 in period 1 in LA.
It'll give the Kings a chance to break out of their power play slump. 0 for 9 with Gretzky and Coffey and Curry and Robitaille. Hard to believe, but then again, the Vancouver Canucks 0 for 7 so far with the man advantage in this series. Momesso in, looking for it. Newman in behind the goal. Lawler loses to Ronning. Flip Ronning. Boy, he's slick, but this time checked by Shannon and down the ice and go.
The two shoot-ins the Canucks have tried on this power play, one was handled by Rick Tabarachi, and the other one, Lume shot over the glass. And they had to have controlled shoot-ins, so they're the first ones there.
Lume leads the rush, gets by Shannon, stops up. Nice pass to Linden in front for Ronning. And the pass for Momesso, and he couldn't get it. Now Momesso behind the net for Ronning, spins to Linden. Momesso. Lume. Watched by Shannon. Okay, Lume to Ronning. Newman in with the check on Ronning, and he'll send it down the ice with 20 seconds to go in the minor penalty. Quickly, McLean gets it ahead to Plavsic as the Canucks change lines. Adams comes over the boards with Larionov and Bure. Diddick with the pass. It's a 2-line pass ahead to Adams. Offside, 8 seconds to go in the Ed Olczyk minor.
And that's the first time that the Ronning line has started a power play in this series for the Vancouver Canucks. Gerald Diddick, as you said, Chris, the most physical defenseman in Game 1. Playing with a lot more confidence, second to Gino Olczyk in penalty minutes. Voted the most aggressive Canuck here on the team. Here's a pass, and watch Phil Sykes in front of Adams. Make sure that Adams doesn't slip it through his feet. Phil Sykes has already announced his retirement at the end of the season. He would like the Jets to do well in the playoffs. He's going into the furniture business with former NHLer Mark Chorney.
Phil Sykes from Dawson Creek, British Columbia. Here's Bure. See if he tries to go end-to-end. Stop right up at the blue line, but carrying on is Larionov. Back it goes. Diddick shot off the ankle of Ulanov, and he's hurting. Diddick. Jets back at full strength, and Ulanov trying to relieve the pressure and get to the bench. He's hurting. Icing the call, but Ulanov at least gets a break as he gets to the Winnipeg bench.
He's slumped over at the Winnipeg players bench. As we look at Dave Babbage, he has been a big part of the Vancouver Canucks success this year. And you see Ulanov trying to walk it off. Winnipeg Jets good defensively. And you look at Pavel Bure trying to go one-on-one. And watch Mike Eagles right here. Stays with Bure, stays with him, gets position on him, follows him in front, stays with him, doesn't watch the puck, makes sure that he has his man all the way, and that's a good defensive player at his best.
7:36 left, first period. 1-0 Canucks on a goal by Tom Fergus, and he is out to take this face-off. Fergus wins the draw. Look at him control it. Back to Babbage. Here's the shot, and he drilled it just high and wide. Back comes Sykes with Draper. And Eagles. Here's Draper, the shot right on. McLean with the rebound save off Phil Sykes. Back it comes to Housley. And a shot right on McLean. That's the first time McLean's seen action in about 5 minutes, and he rises to the occasion.
McLean has been so good all year long staying square to the play. And he's able to play the rebounds because he's in good position. Handled those 3 shots, made it look easy as Phil Sykes got to a rebound on a shot by Chris Draper. Here's the shot from Draper. Now watch Sykes. It's by Linden. But there's McLean square to the play, able to handle that rebound.
Phil Sykes coming close there. His old coach Pat Quinn said he was always a great defensive player, but Pat said if he put his mind to it, he could have been a better offensive player as well. Great offensive talent with running.
Phil Sykes was a great defensive player in college, but when he came out, he was almost labeled as a defensive player right away, and has continued on and survived in the NHL by being a defensive stalwart.
Back at the point, Oleson's shot blocked by Momesso, goes high in the air. Ronning gets chase, and so does Sandlak. Here they come inside the line, got crossed up, and Oleson got back to clear. Sandlak trapped inside the line, and offside is the call. But when Sykes played with Los Angeles, he was the shadow for Wayne Gretzky when he was in Edmonton. And there's the young defenseman from the Canadian Olympic team, a silver medalist, Adrian Klapsik.
A lot more mature after his Olympic experience, doesn't get caught as much. When he first came up to the Canucks, he wanted to get involved and play offensively so much that he get caught up the ice, but Dave King toned him down. He's been a big factor down the stretch for the Vancouver Canucks.
Sandlak just missed Housley with a hit, and that had the Pacific Coliseum crowd groaning. Helmet clears it in. Kachuk after it, but Klapsik beats him to the puck, and the Canucks have done a lot of that in this first period. Momesso drops off for Ronning. Back inside the line. Momesso behind the goal for Ronning. Intercepting that is Aaron Brock. Helmet. Here comes Housley. Kachuk on the left side. Housley hits the line. Shoots it in. Kachuk looked for the rebound, and it went by him. Momesso out on right wing, too far for Sandlak. 6:15 to go, first period. Canucks lead 1-0. Aaron Brock shoots in on McLean. Cron, checked by Steen. Thomas Steen with old check. David Hobbs in front, and they hand it right back to Ronning. Up ahead to Cron, back to Ronning. Momesso on the left wing. There's the shot, weak and wide. Thomas Steen ended the regular season with a 9-game point streak, had a point in game 1. Olczyk flips to center, Steen looks for it, and he knocked down Robert Dirk with a good hit.
Dirk took a look at his own pass, was off balance, and Steen hit him, and Steen just flattened him.
Dirk had his eye on Steen there, but couldn't line him up. Back goes Waller, watched by Volk. Waller, lead pass off the skate of Eagles. Here came Lumen. Broken up by Davidoff, but Bob Hodges quickly whistles play down on the offside with 5:09 left in the first.
You know, we multi-talented athlete guys, we sure need the sporting goods. It's a good thing that it's Canadian Tires. Here comes the Sun event this week. You can get everything you need at great savings. Well, I better get off this squash court.
Need new golf equipment? This week only, save $70 on Spalding Executive Golf Clubs with bonus sand wedge and save $30 on Executive Limited carry bags during Here Comes the Sun only at Canadian Tire.
The ex-Oilers are flying in Los Angeles this evening. That's Wayne Gretzky who'll leave it for Paul Coffey. Yari Curry also draws an assist, the second goal of the game of the playoffs for Coffey. And it's 3-2. The Kings lead the Oilers in the first.
Now watch Thomas Steen come in on Robert Dirk. Dirk watches the pass, and there Steen just flattens him. Thomas Steen's not afraid to use the body. One of the biggest mismatches in your fisticuffs department happened here at the Coliseum when Gino Ojic and Thomas Steen squared off this year. It's hard to believe. I know, Chris, you look at me in disbelief, but yes, it did happen.
And Steen's still playing? I can't believe it. No wonder he had back problems this year.
Eagles on this face-off against Larianov. Puts it in. Canucks come forward with Babbitt. Winds up, shot. That may have grazed the post. Did it. To Babbitt. Drops it off. In front to Larianov. Couldn't take it off his feet. Bure goes after it. Bure to Babbitt. Babbitt has really quarterbacked this Canuck team in the first period. Bure getting back defensively for Vancouver. Up it goes to Larianov. Sidesteps a check from Troy Murray. Murray stays with him and clears it into the Vancouver zone. Darren Shannon against Gerald Dick. Larianov into double team. Behind the net, Murray. Tries to center it out front, cleared away. Lawler keeps it in. Here's Chris Draper. Backhands it. Comes out in front. McLean out of the net. Draper after it there. This line forechecking well for the Jets. Shannon. Murray's in front. Shannon tries to center. Goes to Draper. Back to Shannon. Diddick has him all tied up. Murray in to help out. John Koharski says move it, and they do. Lawler's pinched in. Taken to the boards by Adams. And this time they don't move it and get a face-off. Pretty good forechecking job by the Jets, who trail by one.
You can go as far as your heart can see, beyond any road that you want to be, 'cause it's your lane.
Don't even have to remind you. You know who's coming up for the first intermission. Don Cherry, along with Ron McLean in the Coach's Corner. Tomorrow night, Bob Cole, Harry Neal, Dick Urban, and Scott Russell. The Hartford Whalers and the Montreal Canadiens. And Ron and Don will be looking at highlights of that. And we're looking at highlights of Pavel Bure and Chris Draper.
And Chris Draper, as a shadow, does a good job. You see, he's watching the puck and watching Bure. In the neutral zone, you can get away with that. When you get in the defensive zone, that's where you concentrate only on the man you're watching.
3:45 left to go in the first period. The shots are 10-9 in favor of the Canucks. The first time a team has hit the 10 mark in a period in this series so far. It's a good play by Elnick. Back it goes to the point. Shot right on. And a save by McLean off Keith Tkachuk. Now Fergus clears. Cut off by Olesen. Olesen tries to center it. Tkachuk behind the net. He's bumped by Dirk. Brought into forecheck. And taking over is Fergus. Fergus ahead to Linden. Linden out with Portnoy and Fergus as they hit the line. Portnoy on his wrong wing. Dumped by Ulanov. Puck is loose. And cleared down the ice by Ulanov. Blaine was going to play that and then realized icing would be the call.
Shots are 10-10. The Canucks had 10 shots at the 10-minute mark here of the first period and haven't had a shot since. And the Jets coming on. Tom Fergus tried a dangerous cross-ice pass. Now watch. Tom Fergus gets the puck in the corner, wheels, and fires it. Now watch Freddie Olofsson. It's one of those, if I get it, it's a great play. If I don't, it's a breakaway going the other way. Olofsson got it. And Fergus would like to have that pass back.
Housley for the face-off, looking for a breakaway pass, but it's broken up. Momesso with the shot. That was stopped by Randy Carlyle. Ronning with the loose puck. Puts on the break. Straight move there, right on it. Tabaracci out of his net to clear the rebound. Boy, Ronning stopped on a dime there.
He had Phil Housley turned right around, and that's one of Housley's drawbacks defensively. He always tries to play it motion and very rarely takes a man.
Housley back to get it. Tabaracci gives it off. Carlyle trying to set a pick against Sandlak. And Housley with the errant pass broken up by Momesso. Here's Sandlak in the zone with some room. Works against Carlyle and is knocked off the puck by Davidov and Carlyle. Back on the Jets, 3-on-2. Olczyk, Housley, and Davidov. Here's Housley back to Olczyk, right on. Nice play there as Olczyk came in off the right wing. Running for Vancouver. Adams knocked down on the play. And back in comes Olczyk. Olczyk watched by Plavsic, and Olczyk got his stick up on Plavsic, who goes down. No call, but now they whistle play dead. But Olczyk, high stick Plavsic across the face, and he's slow to get up.
And Olczyk was slashed along the boards as he broke in, and he retaliated on Adrian Plavsic. And Bill Rochelle, who is helping out Larry Ashley, is on the ice with Adrian Plavsic. Good to see Larry Ashley back behind the Vancouver bench, recovering from an illness. And now the Canucks are complaining. Watch Eddie Olczyk when he breaks in right here. Cliff Ronning right there with the two-handed chop. And here's Olczyk, the stick right in Plavsic's face, right there on the backhand, but Don Koharski was in front of the play in good position and made no call. And Plavsic's wondering why. Doesn't help when your dental work is rearranged.
1:42 left in the first period here. Still in the first period in the Great Western Forum. Kings leading the Oilers 3-2. This one's hard to believe. The North Stars doing it for the second year in a row. 4-2 they win and take that series back to Bloomington up by 2. And the Blues on a goal by Jeff Brown, now ahead of Chicago 4-3 in the third. So the visiting teams have given the home squads fits.
Don Koharski is over by the Vancouver bench. And originally they were giving him an earful, but now have quieted down. You don't want to get on the wrong side of the referee in the first period of the second game of the playoffs when you're already down a game.
Shots are even at 11 apiece, but the Canucks are up by 1 here in the first period of Game 2. Diddick almost handed it to Shannon. He gets crossed up with Babbage. Shannon works it free. Draper after it now, and the Canucks are really reeling. Draper has it. This line's forechecked well for Winnipeg in the first period. Babbage tries to put the hold on Shannon, who's been effective. Adams can't get it by Lawler the first time. Murray keeps it in, knocks it to a far corner. Diddick takes a bump and gets it outside the line. Now under a minute to go in the first period. Babbage goes back to get it. Diddick lost it again. This time gets it out with the second try. Play is whistled down, and
Greg Adams is getting a high sticking penalty in the neutral zone. And the Winnipeg Jets get their first power play opportunity of the period late in the first period. And it's been mostly Winnipeg Jets. They were being outshot 10-4 at the 9:55 mark here in the first period. The shots are now 11-11. The Canucks sitting back with that 1-goal lead. Now have to kill off a penalty. And remember, the Jets did get 2 power play goals in Game 1.
They were 2 for 6, although John Paddock, after the game, said our power play was brutal.
Well, that's because they had that full 2 minutes with a two-man advantage and didn't score. But they did get 2 power play goals with only a one-man advantage.
One thing about John Paddock, you get an honest answer. He doesn't pull any punches. Now we get a look from our Panavision camera at the high stick by Adams.
And the follow-through with one hand on a stick, not much intent, but careless use of the stick. Adams goes off.
Adams said Olczyk got away with it. Why deny? So we see the power play unit with Steen up front. Olczyk and Davidoff moving in, shooting just wide. Davidoff after it again, taken to the boards by Lume. Olczyk behind the goal. Around the boards for Housley. Olesen at the other point. And that took a funny hop off the boards and out to center. Olesen and Housley had 1/3 of the Jet shots on goal in game number 1. And the Canucks say they have to put more pressure on those point men. Ryan Walter sends it down the ice, and the Jets will have to wait for period 2 to really get their power play untracked. Just the one goal by Tom Fergus in the first period. Don Cherry and Ron McLean coming up in the coach's corner. 11-11, the shots on goal in the first 20 minutes here at the Pacific Coliseum. And the score at the end of the first period, the Vancouver Canucks 1, the Winnipeg Jets no score.
For almost 20 years now, I've been responsible for nurturing these vineyards. But some mornings, no matter how early I'm out here, Julio Gallo has been here before me.
For over 55 years, Ernest and Julio Gallo have dedicated themselves to making wines honored and respected the world over.
Because as Julio says, the best care for a vineyard is the footprints of its owners.
Come, taste the reserve Cabernet Sauvignon of Ernest and Julio Gallo, the work of a lifetime.
Introducing the new Ford Taurus and the Button. The new Taurus now offers remote radio controls, express down power windows, and better night visibility. Because when it comes to convenience, we push all the right buttons. Introducing the new Ford Taurus and the Dummy. Ford Motor Company has the only cars in this class that offer dual airbags. And to help make sure you won't have to use them, we also offer anti-lock brakes.
Priority Courier, I have a pickup.
Call Priority Courier for overnight delivery, and you're dealing with Canada's largest courier network. You've got the whole country covered. Evenings and weekends, too. Priority Courier gets it there overnight, guaranteed. Because your priorities are ours.
Dave doesn't know about this, but Reebok gave me this top secret running shoe. It's called the Pump Graphite. This arch design makes them very light, supportive, and I have the only pair in existence. They won't be available to the public until spring, but I get special treatment because Reebok really wants me to win in Barcelona.
To be settled in Barcelona.
This is an ordinary run-of-the-mill exhaust pipe. And this is a Midas Long Life exhaust pipe. It's aluminized. And for about the same price, it lasts twice as long as ordinary pipe. And for most cars, only Midas makes it.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry is brought to you by Pepsi. Gotta have it.
You know, there's real magic in Diet Pepsi. It's got that special aha ingredient. The right one, baby. Hey. Okay, girls. Now, what's that magic ingredient?
100% uh-huh.
Don, we are now through games 1 everywhere in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. What strikes you
One thing that bugs me that I've been out here in Vancouver is the way they're treating Trevor Linden. Here's a 22-year-old kid who's the captain, and he's taking all the heat, about this guys walking out and stuff like this. Crowds hollering at him. He had to go in his apartment in seclusion, as they say. Where's those old guys? Where's Lidster? Where's Greg? Those college guys. They leave this kid up twisting in the wind. He takes all the heat for all those guys, and that's a shame. You people in Vancouver, you've got a gem here. This guy is a gem. Treat him like a gem. I was talking to a scout this afternoon. He says, well, they love Bury out here. Let them have 6 Burys. I'll take Trevor Linden, 6 of them. We'd see who win. This guy's a gem. Start treating him like a gem.
We have a highlight from a Chicago game this evening featuring Chris Chelios, and
one
we
of my
should get
buddies.
to that because you've brought a lot of footage.
All right, let's see this here. This is a way to play the game, you kids out there. Watch coming down. Nelson Emerson, another kid I like, might have been Rookie of the Year, started. Gives him a shot. Simcoe, yes, sir. Watch, he gets up, blood pouring down. You think he's finished in the game. Hey, if that was a baseball player, he's done for the year. Watch this. Coming in again, the puck comes out to him here, and he wraps her home for his first goal. Way to go, Chris, moving in just like Hauser.
All of this in the first 5 minutes of the game. Chelios clipped, and he scored a minute later.
Now watch this coming up. He does it again. Perfect. Put her out here to him again. That's the way to play the game. Don't be down rolling around. Tough. And now we got Randy Carlyle coming up.
No, we don't have Randy Carlyle.
You don't have Randy Carlyle?
That's the Canadian way, you always say, but Chris is an American, so both sides of the border, they know how to play tough.
Yeah, but he played junior. He played junior in Canada. We taught him.
Oh, okay.
What's next?
It's not Carlyle, I believe. It's Peter Svoboda from last night, Buffalo, Boston.
Now I'm going to show you how not to play the game. It's about, what's that? It's a little few seconds ago. Puts it up the middle. Receipts and get it, puts it on the net. Watch it, just slides by. What a dum-dum. I swear to God, when I saw him on there, I said, now here's Carlyle now. We've got the Carlyle. Watch him take the body, just like Eddie Shore used to say. Put it out. Little flea hits him. Puts it out there. Unbelievable. That's the way to play the game. Way to go. Right, 36, yeah, yesterday. Way to go. He's like a kid out there. Now watch this here. Francis gets slashed here. They give him a little shot here coming right here.
This is Washington, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Now my favorite hockey player, now that Cam Neely's not playing, a little later, he's got a broken jaw. Watch him go after him. This is a Canadian way. Now remember, he's got a broken jaw, and he's still going. The thing comes off. Him and Hatcher. I like Hatcher too. What is he going to do? Comes off. This is the way you stick up for your teammates, and that's why every coach and GM loves Rick Tocchet.
You got to admit, that's almost dumb. To do that when he is so valuable to the team.
Dumb.
Don't you think that's a little risky?
You'll never know.
You'll
never know. You never played professional hockey. When a guy does that to your teammate, broken jaw or not, you take care of him, and that's why everybody loves Rick Tocchet. And you people in Vancouver, lay off Trevor Linden. This guy's going to be a superstar. He's a beauty.
The other thing I wanted to point out is Tom Draper. Remember we were watching the game yesterday as we were doing the Molson Canadian Report?
Oh, yeah.
And with 17 seconds to go, I'm not sure what it was. You think dehydration?
Yeah, dehydration. I'd like to know what happens to the Buffalo goaltenders. Malarchuk gets 6, guys gets their arm broke. They're having a tough time. Did a good job, though, boy. When a kid comes in like that, you notice these rookie goalies coming in, doing the job.
Little commendation for Trevor Linden, for Randy Carlyle, and even for Rick Tocchet, who made like a shopping mall.
And we've got the biggest fly in the world in this studio.
Who made like a shopping mall. Got a Hatcher for Easter. In this installment of the Coach's Corner on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry is brought to you by Pepsi. Gotta have it.
Available in Winnipeg at Good Guys Sports and Cycle and Corridon Cycle and Sport.
If your sporty car doesn't feel so sporty anymore, you need a change. By the team, the BF Goodrich Tire Team. They'll put on BF Goodrich TA Performance tires. Tires designed just for your sporty car. It's a whole new level of performance. Feel the difference. See your BF Goodrich tire team if they don't see you first.
Alaska, nature's treasure chest. And beneath the cold, pure waters lies a seafood lover's dream that's now in abundance. Alaskan crab. Red Lobster presents the Alaskan Crab Rush. The richest abundance in years means the sweetest prices in years on succulent snow crab and sweet Alaskan king crab, heaped high in exciting combinations. A special place, a special time. Get to Red Lobster for the Alaskan Crab Rush.
Recently, we asked you to give your Superstore receipts to schools so they could redeem them for free Apple computers. This is why. It's working. And with your continued help, there's no telling how far our children will go. Superstores, Apples for classrooms. Smart kids for a stronger Canada.
After a golden performance at the Olympics, Canada's teams are off to Denver, Colorado for the Short Track Speed Skating Championships. And in Paris, the World Individual Gymnastics Championship on CBC Sports Weekend, Saturday.
We're back in Vancouver around the NHL this evening at the Great Western Forum. They're in the first intermission. The Kings lead 3-2, but the Oilers will start the second period with a two-man power play advantage. Minnesota has surprised Detroit for the second night in as many. Modano with a goal and an assist. Bobby Smith, 2 assists. The Wings go 0 for 5 on the power play tonight. They're 0 for 11 in the series. And the North Stars lead 2-0 on the strength of a 2-goal victory at Joe Louis Arena this evening. At the stadium in Chicago, it's the Blues and the Blackhawks playing with 20 seconds to go in the third period. Here is the game winner. If this holds up, Jeff Brown will score to put the Blues in front. Eddie Belfour was pulled, and I can tell you that the Blues have just scored an empty netter to cushion this lead established by Jeff Brown. Brian Sutter and the Blues are celebrating at Chicago Stadium. It is now officially 5-3 with 15 seconds remaining. Add Dave Christian's name. He scores the empty net goal. He was the one who opened the scoring and scored the only goal, as a matter of fact, for the Blues the other night. And here it's Tom Fergus from Linden and Portnoy. The Canucks lead the Jets by a score of 1-0 at the end of one period of play at the Pacific Coliseum. Ford of Canada celebrates 75 years of hockey history and Ford trucks. Tonight, an innovator who supplied his team into sport with endless thrills. The Snake is next.
1917, the year that Ford introduced its first Model T one-ton truck. That was 75 years ago. Admittedly, some people were skeptical. But as Henry Ford said, there's only one thing stronger than armies, and that's an idea whose time has come. Thanks to you from Ford of Canada for a successful 75 years.
Number 1. The number worn by Jacques Plante in Montreal was a clear indication of his prominence as an NHL star during his playing days. Initially, he joined the Montreal Canadiens, where he preserved 6 Stanley Cup championships. A pioneer of the mask, he faced pucks in a total of 112 career postseason games, recording 15 shutouts and a 2.17 playoff average. Later, he relived those special memories for us in St. Louis, New York, and Toronto. When the games counted most, Plante was the man counted upon the most. More than a great goalie, a true champion of invention. Jacques Plante, Ford of Canada, celebrates 75 years of hockey history and Ford trucks.
Cold and clear, breakthrough. When you're done doing what you do.
OB, clear, cold, real life beer.
You know how it goes. You pick up the tab for lunch, you book tickets to the theater, you do a little shopping, and all along, you're using the card. because every time you do, you rack up points that can get you travel on Canadian Airlines or all kinds of other great rewards. So what kind of card gives you this kind of choice? Only one. Membership rewards from American Express. It's airline points and much more.
We've all been hearing a lot about the work underway to renew our Constitution. This process isn't easy, but it's important. The future of Canada depends on it. Recently, a special joint committee of the House of Commons and the Senate consulted with Canadians across the country, then made a unanimous report to Parliament. It makes recommendations on such matters as Quebec's distinct society and the linguistic duality of Canada, self-government for Aboriginal peoples, Senate reform, a new sharing of responsibilities between governments, a social covenant, and Canadian economic union. This report marks another important step in the renewal of Canada's Constitution. For your copy of the Special Joint Committee's report, call 1-800-561-1188. Get informed. Canada is worth it.
Hold it, back it up, forward. Geez, I'm starting to sound a lot like Howie. What are these two guys wagering on tonight's Sports Select games? You don't have to be a rocket surgeon to know who's who. When you make a Sports Select wager, you become part of the battle. And when you get a game winner... Oh, look at that guy. Hey, somebody tell that other guy to get a light. Flo, tell him to get into the game. Lou knows the winner.
Play Pro Line and over-under.
This is an ordinary run-of-the-mill exhaust pipe. And this is a Midas Long Life exhaust pipe. It's aluminized. And for about the same price, it lasts twice as long as ordinary pipe. And for most cars, only Midas makes it.
Welcome back to Vancouver in Game 2 of the Spice Division semifinal between the Jets and the Canucks. As we pan across to the Pacific Coliseum, and we're watching a game within a game. Phil Housley's ice time, not as much tonight.
He hasn't played as much and hasn't played as well as he did in Game 1, and maybe that's why he hasn't played as much. And we talked about the second line, the second big line for the Vancouver Canucks. They played a lot better in the first period. They got a goal. They had some shots on net. They played with a little fire. And you see the hits, 9-8 for the Jets, but a lot of those hits came from the Linden line. Now watch Fergus go to the net. Puck is dug out by Trevor Linden to the point, and then Linden goes to the net. He gets the original shot, and there's Fergus for the rebound. And with Linden and Tom Fergus on the same line, they have good size. It's hard for the smaller Winnipeg Jets to handle them when they go to the net.
That had the fans hopping, but it seemed like the second half of the first period, the Jets started to take over, and they have a power play as we start the second period for the next 1:08. And it's Davidov up front with Steen and Olczyk. And here is the speedy Davidov inside the line, checked by Lume. And it's cleared by Ryan Walter down the ice. Gary Volk giving chase, and Olsson gets there first. Olsson and Housley the point man. It's interesting, 20 goals have been scored tonight in Stanley Cup playoff action, only 8 in even strength. Goals, a short-handed goal, as well as 2 empty netters. And the Jets tried to add to the power play totals. Here's Davidov passing for Olczyk. Too far. Dirk hits Olczyk, but Dirk goes down. And it's Burek. Ahead to Walter. Hits the line, fires in on Tabarachi. Just 10 seconds to go now in the penalty to Adam. Housley with one more rush for Winnipeg with the man advantage. Hits the line, drops it in. For Vancouver, Burek across to Lariana. He takes the shot, then it deflects high. Adams forechecking for the Canucks. It comes loose to Broughton, loses it. Adams couldn't get it on the backhand. And now it's chopped ahead. Here's Kachuk. Elnick on the right wing, 2-on-1. Kachuk in. They score. Kachuk somehow slid it in the short side.
What a pretty play by Keith Kachuk. He faked the pass. Until Kirk McLean went down on his forehand, he was able to
fastest for the Jets so far in this series from Aaron Broughton at 139. 1-1 here. So the Jets scoring early in the period to tie it. Of course, it was their early markers in the third that were so critical in game one. Lidster at the point, shot wide. Lapsick pinching in. Troy Murray chops it out to center ice. Shannon after it, beaten to it by Lidster. Courtnall lost it. Murray giving chase, and Courtnall recovered just in time. Now Fergus for Vancouver. Linden on his left as he hits the line. Linden breaking in. Missed the pass. Gets it to Courtnall. Takes the shot right on. Olsen for Winnipeg. Out to center ice. Past Draper. There's Clapson. For teammates in the national team. Put in by Shannon, and he heads to the bench. Lidster. Up to Linden, the captain. Cross ice behind Courtnall. And it's Hartman for Winnipeg sending it back in, and the fans getting a little uneasy here. Don't like the way the momentum has shifted in this game. Canucks ice it. Ulanov touches it. And we have an icing call. We'll be right back after this message.
Now, when life turns up the heat.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. I'm Jeff Green.
Can't wait to meet you.
There's Degree Antiperspirant. Degree is body heat activated to release extra protection.
1 more minute.
Okay. Every time your body heat rises, Degree turns on that extra protection. So when you really need it, Degree keeps you dry and fresher.
Jeff? Hi.
Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Taking this face-off. Here's Trevor Linden. Get hit. Comes right back. Now watch Linden. He knows Eagles is the one that hit him. And he makes sure that Eagles doesn't get involved in the play. Linden's had a much better game tonight here in game 2, but the fans are on that line. They read all the local papers, and that line has taken some heat.
Although they're the line that has scored for Vancouver. Here's Cliff Ronning. Pounded by Sykes, who gets it back outside the line. Ronning and Fergus, the only two shot men for Vancouver in the first period. Kachuk leads all shooters now with 3, and he has the only goal for Winnipeg. There's Hartman taking a run at Ronning and knocked him flat. Then things are starting to liven up here. Lumen takes a look. Slides it in. Eagles bumped by Sandlot. Running after the puck, but Housley's there. Kept in by Lumen. Knocked off the puck by Hartman. Running after it against Davidov, and it comes outside the line. Lumen clears it back in, and Momesso gets chased. Momesso bumped into Tabarachi. The fans liked it. We'll see how the Jets respond.
Tabarachi handles the puck so much that you know he's going to get hit once in a while. I don't think the Jets will be too upset at that one, as Momesso didn't run right over him.
Here's a chance. Ryan Walter. Gary Volk with them. In front, and Volk missed the pass. Close call there. Davidov turns it up ice. Davidov hits the line. Drops it off for Olczyk. There's the shot. Rebound, Lawler. And a big stop there by McLean. Mike Lawler joined the rush and had the rebound. Almost a giveaway there as Steen dismissed the interception. Here's Cron into Volk. Shot deflecting off Newman and stick high, and Tabarachi corrals it on top of the net, and tempers flaring here, and Gary Volk involved. Mike Lawler for the Jets.
And there's Gary Volk getting a chance to play, missed a scoring chance, and now drops the gloves against Mike Lawler, who had a scoring chance at the other end.
Well, it was just a matter of time, and it's Volk and Lawler who finally dropped the gloves. Volk a great start, and Lawler a pretty good finish. And our Stanley Cup coverage continues in a moment.
Recently, we asked you to give your Superstore receipts to schools so they could redeem them for free Apple computers. This is why. It's working. And with your continued help, there's no telling how far our children will go. Superstores, Apples for classrooms. Smart kids for a stronger Canada.
More emotion involved in this game. Momesso on Phil Sykes. Now look at Sergio Momesso. Good solid hit. No elbow involved. And there's Robert Dirk with a solid hit on Mike Eagles. And watch Jim Sandlak at the other end on Eagles. Has him lined up. Shows him into the boards. Now here's how the fight starts. The puck comes off the glass and Tabarachi corrals it on top of the net. Lawler has Volk all tied up. And then Volk gets the glove in Lawler's face, and away they go.
Almost looked on that shift as if the Canucks had heard enough boos and they were going to try and take matters into their own hands.
They got the crowd back involved with that fight between Volk and Lawler. The crowd is back and again in favor of the Vancouver Canucks.
I just hope Lawler gets his jersey back. Ulanov from the faceoff. Off the boards, Lidster kept it in with his skate momentarily, but out come the Jets, and Murray just kicks it into Vancouver territory. Lapsick back to get it. Wholesale change for the Jets. Linden tries to get inside the line. Now a lead pass to Elnick, and he was over the red line on the two-line offside. There's the native of Home Lake, Saskatchewan.
Out of the lineup this year, has had a couple of injuries and was benched early in the season by John Paddock. And the one player who really missed Thomas Steen early in the season was Pat Elenick. They had a great year together last year and a little magic. And without Steen in the lineup, Elenick played with very little confidence and very little jump.
He's still missing Steen, though, now on a new line as Steen centers Olchek and Davidoff. But Elnick's one of the few offensive threats that John Paddock really can rely on.
And that any other team has to really be aware of when he's on the ice. You look at their goal scorers, Elnick with 24 and Eddie Olchek with 31. After that, you look back to the blue line.
14:46 left in the second period. A 1-1 tie here at the Pacific Coliseum. Tom Fergus scoring for Vancouver in the first. Keith Tkachuk, the fine-looking rookie for Winnipeg, early in the second. Chris Draper wraps it in. Troy Murray tags up. And Lidster back to get it. Jets have now outshot the Canucks 14-13. Aaron Shannon clears it in. McLean will leave it. He clears it into the corner right at Troy Murray. Murray for Shannon. Centered out in front. Here's Troy Murray. And a big stop there by McLean. Oh, he was going the wrong way, but somehow got his skate down and made the save.
Saw the Jock Pond highlights in the intermission. That was a Jock Pond style save.
Here's Draper to Shannon, and Rick McLean's there again. Two big chances there for the Jets, but it's still tied.
When you get the puck 5 feet from your own blue line, you can't turn it over. And there, the Canucks turn it over. And it's in that gray area. The Jets with a good chance. And look at the save by Kirk McLean. Square to the play again. Takes it off the chest. There's nothing to shoot at for Chris Draper.
Looks like Draper kind of fanned on that pass, wanted to get it ahead even quicker. Nevertheless, a couple of big scoring chances and big stops by Kirk McLean. Olesen at the right point. Moves into the center, fires. That hits somebody in front and deflects over the glass. Out of play.
Talked about the shift in momentum from about the 9-minute mark of the first period. It's been all Winnipeg Jets. And winning faceoffs is one of the things that the Winnipeg Jets have done a good job in Game 1 and Game 2. The chance created there by the faceoff by Aaron Broughton, signed by the Winnipeg Jets, as you see, January 10th. Refused to report to the Toronto Maple Leafs farm team. Jurke Lume does a good job on Pat Elnick. Look, he has a hold of his stick, make sure that Elnick can't get the stick on the ice. Push pushes him away, and Pat Elnick got hit with that shot from the point.
Broughton boys doing pretty well in the playoffs so far. Paul Broughton with the Rangers. They won their first last night. Neil with the North Stars with that stunning 2-0 lead over Detroit. And Aaron of the Jets also lead this series 1-0. Here's Elnick on the right wing. Elnick hits the line against Dirk. And Dirk takes him out of the play. Lume missed a check from Tkachuk. Linden is bumped. Tkachuk in the corner. He's the goal scorer for Winnipeg. Ulanov at the point drifted the shot high and wide. Courtnall walks by Tkachuk. Lume. Up ahead it goes to Linden and Fergus. Left wing feed, Courtnall at the line. Courtnall flips it right in, and Tabaracci won't take any chances with Trevor Linden and Tom Fergus on the doorstep. 13:05 to go, second period.
Molson Special Dry. Is this your average beer? Is this your average beach party? Molson Special Dry. It just could be the best beer ever brewed, anytime, anywhere.
Now this is what I call a beach party.
Tomorrow night, the Whalers and Canadians, Game 2 of that Adams Division semifinal, while Don Cherry and Ron McLean watch the other games in the Wales Conference for you. The Canucks and Jets resume with Game 3 of this series on Wednesday from the arena in Winnipeg. Look at Mike Eagles in on this draw against Pepperoni.
And there's Troy Murray jumps into the face-off circle. Eagles and Murray tag team every defensive zone face-off.
What a compliment John Paddock paid Troy Murray after Game 1. Said, with all due respect to Mark Messier, I think Troy Murray is as good a leader as anyone in the NHL. Babbitt from the point. There's the shot deflected high and wide up over the glass.
Great honor for Troy Murray to be selected the captain of the Winnipeg Jets. Not very often you see that, a player traded, although in Messier's case the same thing happened. To a new team and immediately becomes the captain and the obvious leader of that team. Murray talks it over with Phil Sykes, the defensive zone coverage, as the Jets lost a rare draw in their own zone.
It was overshadowed in some ways in Chicago, first by Denny Savard and then the emergence of Jeremy Roenick, but here he is the #1 center, perhaps not in point production, but certainly in stature with the Jets. Sykes from the face-off, clears it out. Diddick wraps it off the boards. That one's back into the crowd.
Randy Carlyle again. You look at those two, Eagles and Murray, the key defensive zone face-offs, and who does John Paddock put out on defense? It's Randy Carlyle. Had a strong game in Game 1. Anticipated so well. And his quickness, he's last a step, but he was always a pretty good skater. Very durable. Plays without a helmet and still durable.
It's amazing how, even though he loses a step, he seems to bring the play down to his speed. He can slow the play in his own zone and control it. 1,033 regular season games, and this is his 66th in Stanley Cup playoff action.
The players talked about that, but how do you change it? And Carlyle seems to be able to do it almost every game.
Here's Housley. Flipping it in. Sykes goes after it against Ronning. Sykes gets there first. Setting up Eagles. The shot is blocked by Babich. Back comes Momesso. The Canucks skating out to center ice. Momesso on the right side for Sandlak. Eagles gets there. Momesso follows up. Knocked down by Carlyle. Running after it. He's watched by Housley and knocked down. Sandlak in the corner against Eagles. Housley. Off the boards. Kept in by Diddick. Sandlak beats Housley to it. Puts it in front. Momesso. Shot. Tabaracci the save. And he'll hold on as Sandlak and Momesso cause a little commotion in the Winnipeg Jets defensive zone.
Chrysler Daytonas now start at under $12,000 and go all the way up to 224 horsepower. Introducing the new Chrysler Daytona IROC RT. 5-speed transmission, multi-point fuel injection, 16 valves, and 0 to 100 kilometers in 6.7 seconds. Advantage Chrysler.
Sandlak and Momesso using their size. Now look at Carlisle trying to handle Momesso. Tabaracci decides to cover it up, and it's Sykes and Ronning, but Sandlak comes in, and it was Sandlak there to defend. Now here you have some of the fans in Vancouver trying to get everybody else going.
It's the old John Garrett fan club, isn't it?
That's right. They're still around.
Thomas Steen, 38 games played this year, 38 points.
He went to the same clinic that Russ Courtnall was at, and all the players seem to flock to Los Angeles for some reason. Chris, I don't know whether it's a clinic or just a climate. Leave Winnipeg in the middle of winter or Montreal in the middle of winter and go to Los Angeles.
The soft tissue clinic. To help his ailing back. It's an interesting exchange. Here comes a penalty as Linden knocked over Olesen. Up ice goes Troy Murray. Tabaracci's out of the net, and the Jets getting set to go on the power play. They've got the extra attacker out now. Murray puts it in front, scooped up by McLean. Here comes the call against Trevor Linden. Right now, down to Ron McLean with the Hockey Night in Canada update.
Chris, a good time to show you a power play goal from the Great Western Forum in Los Angeles. The former Oiler Coffey has 2 on the power play. Now the former King Nichols has a pair with the man advantage. This goal for Edmonton at 8:04 of the second period from Manson and Murphy. It's 3-3. A lot of formers scoring at the Forum.
Trevor Linden takes the penalty. We were talking, Chris, about the last stoppage in play when things started to get a little feisty, and we thought maybe Don Kuharski would clamp down a little bit, and he calls a penalty on Trevor Linden. Linden trying to do some forechecking, takes a tripping penalty on Frederick Olesen. The Jets get the second power play. Now watch the top of your screen, and right there, Trevor Linden with his right foot gets a piece of Olesen, knocked him down, and takes a penalty.
Jets' second power play of the game. Steen at center. Lost the draw, and Lume sends the Jets back. Steen, Olczyk, and Murray up front. Then Housley and Olesen on the points. They're the key men on the power play. Like McInnes and Suter in Calgary or Leach and Patrick in New York. At least that's the way John Paddock sees it. And the Canucks feel they have to put more pressure on the point men tonight. Here's Olesen to Steen. Not a good pass, but there's another poor pass, and they have to regroup at center ice. Here comes Housley. A good clear in, and Lume sends Ottawa with Walton. Savage came over the boards, and he joined the play, but couldn't get loose. As Troy Murray starts back, fires it in. He hits to the bench. Over the boards comes Elnick. Olczyk hits his man. Bure to the line, kept in by Housley. And it goes to Steen. Steen pass broken up, and here comes Bure. Pavel Bure turns on the speed, trying to break through. Penalty coming up. Well, I'm not sure Bure thought he could get through there, but he drew the penalty. And so much for the Jet power play.
Today, Pepsi announced a new slogan. Mere words? Or is the taste of Pepsi so big, America's really got to have it?
Gotta have it. It's something I felt for years, but never had the words to express.
If it's so popular, how come everybody's drinking it?
Henry's only regret is that he started drinking Pepsi this late in life.
The phrase, gotta have it, strikes a chord deep in the human psyche.
Now that everybody's gotta have it, Pepsi's not gonna need celebrity endorsers anymore.
And that's what I've been saying all along.
Pavel Bure uses his speed as Phil Housley gives up on him and lets Frederick Olesen take him. Right here, Housley gives up, and Olesen cuts across. Now Bure's trying to cut across. Both defensemen chop. Could have been either who goes off for tripping. And there goes the Jet power play. We talked about the bad shoot-ins of the Vancouver Canucks. That power play opportunity, the Jets had 3 bad shoot-ins that they had no chance of retrieving at all.
Well, we've talked a lot about Bure, who's also a pretty good penalty killer, and he had 3 shorthanded goals during the regular season. 38 seconds to go in the Linden minor, and then the Canucks will have a power play. Larionov and Bure out for Vancouver. It's Eagles and Sykes in a defensive mode for the Jets. The draw, Winnipeg controls, and Ulanov. By his countryman Bure. Up ahead it goes. Eagles at center, chased back by Diddick. Ulanov turns. Diddick, Bure, Babbitt. Here they come, 3 men in. Diddick joined the rush. There's a shot, and Babbitt wrapped it wide. Diddick flips it in front. Ulanov has it. He'll lug it out. Bure in pursuit. Sykes has lost his helmet. And Diddick knocks his man down. Here's Bure shooting. Tabaracci with a big stop there. Tabaracci told me that Bure has a deceivingly heavy shot. And he let us see it there.
And you notice where Rick Tabaracci was set up. And he was ready for that shot. Had the angle. And made the save. Now watch Bure after the Diddick hit create some open ice right here. But look at Rick Tabaracci. Look at where he is. 5 feet outside the crease, has the angle cut down well, makes the save and controls the rebound. Now here's the shot. Look at where Tabaracci is. Good position, good concentration, no rebound.
And he had to control that rebound. Larionov was right there. The last few sequences seem to have picked up the fans at the Pacific Coliseum. Shots are even at 17. The game is even at 1 apiece with 9:27 left in the second period. And I think Bure will be up back on the ice quickly because the Canucks on the power play still have 1:17 with the man advantage. Right now it's Ronning with Linden and Adams, Lapsick and Lume. Face-off. The other penalty killer is Aaron Broughton. Ronning wins the draw clean. Linden. Deep to Ronning. Turns away from Lawler. Linden. Give and go with Plavsic. Cross ice it goes. Lume not much on it. Rebound. Linden scores! But the weight of the world may have been taken off his shoulders with that goal. And the Canucks restore the lead. Net knocked off the moorings by Aaron Broughton. We got a penalty coming up. I think it's Pat Elnick who's getting the game. Lume and Plavsic getting the assists on the goal by Linden. 10:52, the time of the power play goal as we take another look.
Now watch this shot. It's a flutter ball, but it's kicked by Adams right there, and Tabaracci made a good save on the deflection, but can't control the rebound. And that's why Linden's able to get it. It's up and over the fallen goaltender.
And that's why they'll have to make the change on that assist, because clearly Adams did with the deflection merit an assist. And Elnick, it's a high sticking penalty, and right after a power play goal, another big chance for the Canucks.
The Winnipeg Jets
Canucks have been a disciplined team all year long, and that was kind of an undisciplined penalty after the whistle had blown. A high sticking penalty by Pat Elman.
Vancouver 1 for 9 on the power play of the series, so they finally get that monkey off their back. Get another chance with a man advantage. And they've got the crowd right back in this game.
The crowd that was booing them a little earlier, what have you done for us lately? They're right back in it now.
Face off in the Vancouver zone, but the Canucks will quickly get their power play organized. Lariana, Bure, and Adams up front. And here comes Lariana. Drops to Lume. Lume has room! And a great poke check there by Ulanov. Lume again. Lariana in the corner. Bure heads to the net. Now in the corner it's Bure. It goes to Lume. There's the shot. And a penalty coming up now as Lariana got caught up with Tabaracci. And an interference call will wipe out the man advantage. Now with the Hockey Night in Canada update, here's Ron.
Back in Los Angeles, the Oilers have gone ahead of the Kings 4-3 in the second period, and here's how it happens. It's Joe Murphy parked on the doorstep, and he apparently got his stick on the shot by Vincent Damphousse. Bernie Nichols also draws an assist, his third point of the game. It's the Oilers 4, Los Angeles 3.
Watch Igor Larionov in behind Rick Tabaracci right there, gives him a shot, and takes the interference penalty. It doesn't matter whether you're in the crease or not, you still can't hit the goalie. The goalie is not fair game when he's standing there nowhere near the puck. And that time Tabaracci wasn't near the puck, and Larionov hit him.
Just 35 seconds into the Vancouver power play. 4-on-4, lots of room for number 10, and here's Lume. Short side, shot wide. Adams after it, taken to the boards heavily by Davidoff. Now Housley. He likes these 4-on-4 situations too, but Plavsic cuts him off. Bure with one move, lost the puck. Thomas Steen slows it down. Lawler ahead, Davidoff out at center ice. There's Housley. Can't control it. It could have been a 2-on-1 for Winnipeg. Here's Davidoff now. Hits the line. Fires in just wide. Lume to Bure. Here he comes. Trying to break through. Here's a chance. Adams, Tabaracci. Rebound shot wide by Plavsic. Well, that time Bure did not break through, but they still get an offensive chance off the rush. 17 seconds to go in Elnick's liner, and the Jets will have a short power play. Here's Tom Fergus, dropped for Bure. Pavel Bure, checked nicely by Newman. Bure stays with him. Fergus now in the corner. Better movement by the Canucks. Diddick down low, centers in front, and it comes all the way out, and quickly back up ice come the Jets. Now on a power play, Elnick back on the ice. Elnick has the puck, being held up. Here's Broughton shooting in the lane, covers up for Vancouver.
And there's Fergus, and in comes Gerald Diddick on Aaron Broughton.
A couple of ex-Leaf teammates get their sticks high. With another Hockey Night in Canada update, here's Ron.
At the Great Western Forum, the Kings draw even, and again it's a former Edmonton Oiler connection. This time Jari Kurri, Marty McSorley, an unlikely 2-on-1 combo. McSorley takes the feed from Kurri and scores his first of the playoffs to square the affair at 4.
The fans are booing because the Canucks are going to get another minor penalty. Pavel Bure with a little more open ice tonight than he did in Game 1 because of the 4-on-4 situation here. Good play by the Jet defenseman Fredrik Olofsson as he took Bure, took the body. Tom Fergus and Gerald Diddick tag teamed Aaron Broughton. And it's Fergus that's getting the extra penalty, and now the Jets have a 2-man advantage. Now watch after the whistle here. The hit by Fergus on Broughton. And another hit, watch Gerald Diddick come into the picture. Right here. And we talked about the Jets taking an undisciplined penalty. There's one called by referee Don Koharski, and the Jets have a two-man advantage for 19 seconds.
Broughton also in the penalty box. As you saw, 3 Canucks. Pat Quinn's team now in a bit of a hole despite a 1-goal lead.
And Pat Quinn shaking his head. And here's a key face-off taken by, again, for the Winnipeg Jets by Troy Murray. And Trevor Linden, who did a good job in Game 1 when the Canucks were 2 men down, out there again.
Remember the momentum shift of Game 1 when the Canucks killed the 2-man advantage. They've got another chance to do that here, and Linden was such a key man for Vancouver in that situation. Wins the face-off. Lidster behind the goal. Up to Linden and down the ice. And that's all the Canucks needed, really, to kill the first minor. Here comes Housley. Hits the line with Tkachuk. Olesen. Now Steen. Shot right on McLean. Clears it away. It's now 5 skaters to 4. Vancouver just 1 man short. Murray. Back to Housley. Murray challenged by Lidster there. Works down the Steen. Shot easily handled by McLean. Putting a lot more pressure on the Jet point men tonight. Housley. Olesen. Wrist shot right in. Rebound. Tkachuk was knocked flat behind the play. Murray went after Lidster.
And Tkachuk gets up now. Veteran goaltender Kirk McLean reading the play and knew Murray was there, so he just stacked the pads. Now watch in front, the screen shot comes through. McLean makes the save, but he knows Murray's there, gets up. Now watch him stack the pads over and make the save on Troy Murray. And here's the hit from behind. It's Robert Dirk and Doug Lidster is both there, but it was Dirk who flattened Tkachuk.
Well, there's Eddie Olczyk
going to the Winnipeg Jet dressing room.
We wondered why he wasn't on the power play, and there's the reason. And now Tkachuk right after him has been hurt. Well, this would be devastating loss for the Jets if it's a serious injury to Olczyk.
Jim Ramsey and Phil Walker helping Eddie O go to the Jet dressing room. It's hard to tell. He doesn't seem to be limping too much on either leg, almost like he's had his bell rung.
Waiting to see if additional penalties are going to be handed out here by Don Koharski. 1:01 remaining in the Winnipeg power play. And the question here, is Koharski going to give them a 2-man advantage again, or will the penalty be perhaps negated by extra calls? That's what John Paddock's waiting for.
I don't think there was any call on the play on Keith Tkachuk. Don Koharski did not have his hand up on that one.
Doesn't look like any extra penalties will be called. Here's it.
Here's Ed Olczyk. You could see along the boards, and it didn't look like he was hit. It was just slashed at, and then headed to the bench. He was able to skate to the bench by himself, and then was led to the dressing room.
He kind of collapsed when he got to the bench. I saw that. It almost looked like he grabbed something behind the right knee. So, no additional penalties. Don Koharski has everything straightened away, and we're ready to go. And Dirk and Elnick fencing right on that face-off. Controlled by Vancouver. Teppo Numminen leads the run. Fires it in. Thomas Steen after it and hopped over everybody's stick, and the Canucks clear down the ice.
That was a good shooting by the Jets, but Steen got a bad bounce. He was the first one there. Puck just bounced over his stick.
Here's Davidoff. Watched by Walter. Gets it to the corner. Steen. Hit by Dirk. Davidoff picks it up. At the point, Newman into Housley. Into Steen. Blocked by Dirk. Steen has it again. Elvick to Newman. Back to Elvick. Housley. Elvick one times it blocked. Davidoff. Elvick helps out. Davidoff crossed up and ball clears it down the ice as the Canucks return to full strength. So once again, the Canucks do a good job of penalty killing. Davidoff right in front of his net. Gives it away, and there's Bure. Adams heads to the front of the net. Lume at the point. Clears it in. Larionov. Bure. Centered for Adams. Broken up by Ulanov. 4:18 to go here in the second period. And it's 2-1 Vancouver. The go-ahead goal by Trevor Linden. Here's Greg Adams shooting. Tabaracci took it high, and down he goes. But he's right back on his feet. Rick Tabaracci of the Jets.
Introducing the new Magnum Series engines from Dodge. Delivering up to 44% more horsepower and a promise. Take one Dodge Dakota, drop in a Magnum V6 or V8, and you'll outpull any Ford Ranger or Chevy S10 around. Chrysler, all you have to do is drive one. Now get 5.9% financing or choose $1,000 cash back.
Back in Vancouver with an update from Los Angeles, Larry Robinson. This is a good news, bad news update. The bad news is Larry Robinson goes down in a heap here, and as he gets up, you'll see him favor his left leg. He has left the game in Los Angeles midway through the second period. No word yet on the extent of the injury. Shortly thereafter, Rob Blake scores for the Kings from McIntyre. Second goal of the playoffs for Rob Blake, and it's a beauty. It's 5-4 Los Angeles.
The highest scoring game in the playoffs so far. Bure from the point, right on Tabaracci. 4 minutes to go. Second period. Draper hits the line, but Murray is offside, and Larionov lassos him. And there'll be a penalty for that. And I think the penalty's going to Murray. 3:55 to go. Second period.
Murray is not too pleased. Look at, we compared him to Mark Messier. Look at those eyes, the Mark Messier glare. And Troy Murray gets a penalty right here for elbowing on Igor Larionov. And then Larionov threw Murray down, and that's why Murray was complaining. And it's elbowing. Murray had the original elbow on Larionov, and then Larionov threw him down. And look at those eyes. He's glaring at referee Don Coart.
Vancouver 1 for 10 in this series with the man advantage. Power play goal scored by Trevor Linden. It's the go-ahead goal in this game. In fact, they come with the man advantage led by their quarterback Lume. Larionov in the corner. Lost it to Lawler. Gets it back. Adams in the corner. Trying to feed it to Plavsic. Sykes is there. Lawler chops at it. So does Sykes. The Canucks keep it alive. Just an empty space, but Sykes chopped it away. There's Bure. Picks his way to the line. Feeds right wing. Well, he went after it himself. Now Adams. Great pass to Plavsic. Cross to Larionov and cleared by Newman. Larionov leaves it there. Newman intercepted. Sykes hit by Plavsic. There goes the helmet. Larionov to the point to Lume. There's the shot by Bure. It was blocked by Sykes. Sykes has time to clear.
Bure had 268 shots during the regular season, and you can see why he tried to tee that one up almost on the goal line in the corner.
Lume picks his way in. Shot right on. Jets can't clear it. Here's Dinnick at the point. in the corner. Linden's out front. Lume against Darren Shannon. Lume running behind the goal. Nice play off the back of the net. Boy, Ronnie's a magician. Look at him. Here's the chance to hit the side of the net. Momesso fooled a lot of the fans here. Linden right on. Rebound running. Tabaracci swung away, and Momesso's down. Play whistle down, and Sergio Momesso's been shaken up.
Don Koharski is asking the linesman about it, but I don't think there's going to be a call on this one. Quite similar to the Keith Tkachuk incident. Don Koharski did not see the play, and you can see him shaking his head. And again, Bill Rochelle is on the ice.
Well, we'll find out because we were isolating on Momesso in front.
And here's Darren Shannon and Momesso and Carlisle and Momesso, and it's Carlisle right there that gets a stick on Sergio Momesso and throws him down. And there's Momesso asking the linesman, well, you didn't see it? He's talking to Don Koharski. Pat DePuzzo's there. Bill Rochelle, the BC Lions trainer, helping out with the Canucks here in the playoffs. And you see Carlisle, what did I do? Pretty innocent looking face.
He says, I'm the guy with the cut on the nose. Well, we have good news from Los Angeles. Larry Robinson has returned to the bench. And that is good news because it looked like he may have suffered a serious injury. John Paddock's team weathers another storm. Power play is Vancouver's is over. Coming up in our second intermission, 1:53 from now, Greg Adams in conversation with Ron McLean.
Greg Adams is a very creative player. He's one of the few Canucks that can play with Bure and Larionov. It's one of those positions where it's a good news, bad news type situation, as you said earlier, Chris, because Larionov and Bure are so creative and such good skaters that you have to be able to skate with them. You can't play your position. You can't just go up and down your wing. You have to crisscross. And Adams is one of those players who handles the puck very well and can skate very well and is able to keep up with those two.
This one really has livened up in the second period. 2-1 Canucks. They've outshot the Jets 27-22, so we've already exceeded the shot totals of the other night. Actually, the Jets have matched theirs at 22. The Canucks already with 8 more shots on goal than in all of Game 1. Numanen watched by Sandlak. Sandlak goes down. Numanen hands it to Ronning behind the goal. Diddick pinched in. Lawler knocked down Ronning. Penalty coming up. And Tkachuk in frustration shoots it down the ice, and there's the cross-check call by Don Koharski on the veteran defenseman, Mike Lawler.
Cliff Ronning gets set up in behind the net. He's so quick. And watch him turn right here. And Lawler realizes he's in trouble as he's skated by Ronning, gets a little shot, and takes the cross-checking penalty.
Jets are tempting fate here. They've done a great job of killing penalties all season long and in this series, but Vancouver's got enough firepower that they're going to make the Jets pay if this continues.
The penalty killers get so tired, the other players never get a chance to play. So that when they do get on the ice, they're not cold, they're not fresh, they don't have their legs. Carlisle must be tired. Phil Sykes has been out there an awful lot. Mike Eagles. And again, it's Carlisle and Frederick Olofsson out there to kill off this penalty.
And this seems to cut down on the ice time for Phil Housley as well. He doesn't kill as many penalties and doesn't get as much ice time because of it. On the face-off, Jets control and sending the Canucks back. Larionov, Greg Adams, Bure. This is Larionov leading the rush. Lumen. Plavsic is the other point, and Adams in the slot. Loose puck. And Eagles cleared with under a minute to go in the first. Check that second. Lume to the line, feeds in for Adams. Cutting in on the right wing backhand. Tabaracci the stop. Olofsson Wilson over the glass, and we'll have a face-off. Well, where will it be? The Jets claiming that hit a Canuck glass.
And Larionov's stick goes up and out, and the face-off comes outside. Larionov is questioning why, but it did hit his stick. Larionov's play really picked up when Pavel Bure came to the team. Creative player, and the younger Soviet helped Larionov's game improve.
Pointless in the first 13 games of the year, yet he ended up with 65 on the season, so he did indeed benefit from Bure's addition. There's our eye in the sky right underneath the clock, which gives you this shot.
The David Letterman sky cam here.
Tell you what, we've had ISO everywhere tonight. Now we peek in on Ronning and Murray. And this face-off outside the Jet line, controlled by Winnipeg and Ulanov. There's it down.
That was a great shot from overhead on just how good Troy Murray is on the face-off. Got his stick in close, won the draw cleanly.
Savage sends it in. Past Tabaracci. Past Murray. Linden to Lume with some room. The shot blocked in front by Newman. It looked like Lume got a lot on that.
Sergio Momesso was planted right in front of Rick Tabaracci. Had the shot got through, I don't think Rick Tabaracci had any chance to see that one.
Ronning looks at the clock and realizes there's not much time to do anything. Long shot down the ice to end the second period.
All the penalties, the Winnipeg Jets couldn't get much going, but the Vancouver Canucks got the crowd back into the game and got themselves more involved after a long lull from halfway through the first period.
Canucks out shooting Winnipeg 17-11 in period number 2, and joining Ron McLean in studio in our second intermission is Canuck forward Greg Adams. Beautiful British Columbia, where the Canucks hold a 2-1 lead after 2 periods of play.
The best button box club, the Leap Apart Button Box Club. This is the move they stole from us in Cleveland.
Maybe it's been a long time since you had a vacation.
My husband tells me I'm always thinking about my goats. I admit it. I do think about goats a lot.
Maybe too long.
I think I dream about my goats.
But with the Sears Club, you can get that vacation. Because not only can you redeem Sears Club points for free merchandise, but you can now get Air Miles travel miles, good for free air travel almost anywhere in the world. Free air travel from Sears Club. Because we all need a vacation now and again.
Don Marr, Bank of Montreal, for the Children's Miracle Telethon.
Since 1971, the Children's Hospital Research Foundation has been turning your dollars into medical research that saves lives. Please show your support.
In 1976, Honda introduced the all-new Accord. For the past 16 years, thousands of Manitobans have discovered its value, making the Accord North America's best-selling car 3 years in a row. Now it's your turn as we celebrate with 16 days of sweet deals on all 16 models of Accord. Reliable, dependable, solid value now, great resale value later. Happy birthday, Accord. It's a celebration of value until May 2nd at your Manitoba Honda dealers.
Jack and Mary are finally getting around to their first barbecue.
Honey, it's cold.
Just a second, dear.
But honey, it's cold.
Too bad they don't know about all the new burger and chicken sandwiches at Perkins. Each one a tremendous feast. So come on in.
Maybe you should add more lighter fluid?
Besides, it's nice and warm inside.
They both come here to say, take charge of everything. Stay away.
Hi, I'm Gert, and this is my brother Bert.
Hi, we're here to help you stay alert and stay safe.
Yeah, so follow along.
Watch out, beware. Things aren't always as they seem. We'll show you what we mean. Stay alert. Stay safe.
Chuck for the Jets and Trevor Linden for the Vancouver Canucks. 2 goals in that second period. Vancouver leads at the end of 40 minutes of play by a score of 2-1. Joining me now, Greg Adams, another 30-goal year for you. Greg, 200 in the NHL and over 500 games played. Let's start with the game itself. Tell me how you think it's going.
Well, it's going pretty much the way we expected. You know, we expected it to be a close checking, a tight game. That's Winnipeg style, and that's the style we've been successful at.
When you met this morning, I understand you were at the rink early. Tell me about that and what you were trying to do to turn it around after the opening defeat.
Well, I think we were just trying to make sure that everyone was still pretty positive. You know, we didn't play that bad of a game. We had a few mental lapses that cost us the game, the first game, and we had a couple opportunities early in the game that we didn't capitalize that ended up hurting us. And we just wanted to be positive and just go over a few things that we did wrong.
It seemed to me tonight, watching you and your line mates, Larionov and Bure, that you didn't have much going in the first period and then suddenly really got it going in the second. Did you have that sense, and if so, what happened?
Yeah, it seemed they really balled us up the first period, and you know, they had a checking line on us, and they're doing a good job on us right now, especially in the first period tonight. There's not a lot of room out there, and we were getting a little bit frustrated, and we just had to calm down the second period.
Any one thing that the checking line is doing to hold you up?
They're just good defensive players, and they're doing their job out there. You know, Pavel's an offensive explosion out there, and when he gets going, he can turn things around, and they've been holding him down.
How good is he, for Don's benefit, and in your opinion, Pavel Bure? What do you think about him?
I think he's a very talented hockey player. He's got tremendous speed, and he can handle the puck just as well as he can skate with it, and he's a great hockey player.
Now, you grow up in Nelson, British Columbia, go to Arizona, end up playing with Larionov and Bure from the former Soviet Union. It's not the traditional path. Did you ever anticipate this? And tell me about who maybe were
against each other. We want to play against some other bodies, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, you get tired of looking at each other and you want to take it out on someone else?
Those things happen after a while, but good bunch of guys. It's really nice. It's nice meeting new people and things like that. And these guys that he's brought up are just, like I said, a great bunch of guys.
Getting back to tonight, that mascot looked like he could be a good addition to the squad.
Yeah, he was. We saw him practicing before. He was jumping off the trampoline trying to dunk that ball. So it was, yeah. So everything's like overwhelming, so to speak. I mean, it's really nice to see the turnout tonight, and then crowd just getting into it and things. And hopefully it'll continue when the season starts.
All right, let's take you back a few years. The days with the Manitoba Bisons, the GPAC final, and the famous water fountain shot against Brandon, and tell us about that one as we look at it.
Oh boy, well, I was dribbling to the water fountain, as you would say, and I didn't want to give the ball up. I was feeling really good that day and didn't want to give it up to anyone, and I just let it go, and it happened to go in, and well, it's history, so to speak. So.
You know, the story gets better every time it's been told. That some people have said you actually took a drink after you took the shot.
Well, like I was saying, it was during the shot. It was during the shot. It was already in the air, and I ran and got a drink. No, I know what you're saying, though. It was, but it's history, and this is something now that, with the Thunder and stuff, that I want to keep doing for myself personally, anyway.
We got about 30 seconds left. What role will you be playing with the Thunder?
I'm not really sure if Coach Insulki's had me working both guard spots and one of the forward spots. Just go in there, play hard. That's all he wants is 100% out of everybody. He wants good hard work out of everyone, and he wants 120 points on up on the scoreboard. But I mean, we got to play defense, obviously, too. So just go out and play as hard as I possibly can.
Well, with you playing for the Thunder, that would be no problem. You always gave 120% and 100% or more.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
Okay, and thank you for joining us tonight on Sportsline.
Thanks.
All right, and in the NBA playoffs tonight, Phoenix Suns are trying to deliver the knockout.
Not number two. Yes, they can. It couldn't be simpler. And it's guaranteed because they're trained professionals. 160 locations. You get off your couch, out the door. Take your car and drive it down to where? Speedy Auto Glass.
We're back at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, but heading right now to the Great Western Forum for a highlight from late in the second period. Wayne Gretzky returns it to Charlie Huddy. Another former Oiler strikes in Los Angeles. Until this game, no team had scored more than 4 in any one playoff game this year, but The Kings, as you see, have 6 thus far in their game against the Edmonton Oilers at the end of 2 periods of play now in Los Angeles. LA 6, Edmonton 4. Bernie Nichols has a 3-point night going for the Oilers. Paul Coffey with a pair of goals to pace the Los Angeles attack. The Minnesota North Stars upset Detroit again this evening. Casey was stellar in the first period. Detroit outshot Minnesota 31-20, but they fall by 2 goals, and now it's the Stars leading the series 2-0, heading to Game 3 in Bloomington in 2 nights. The St. Louis Blues got the game winner from Jeff Brown. Christian, an empty netter. Richie Sutter had 2 assists. Ron Sutter a goal, so a big night for the Viking connection, and it's the Blues by 2. Eddie Belfour was chased in that game. Hasek coming in. And here in Vancouver at the end of 40 minutes of play, it's the Canucks leading the Jets by a score of 2-1 as they try to draw even. Live, this is Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
This is an ordinary run-of-the-mill exhaust pipe. And this is a Midas Long Life exhaust pipe. It's aluminized. And for about the same price, it lasts twice as long as ordinary pipe. And for most cars, only Midas makes it.
Over the past decade, the annual CAA Award has become Canada's premier owner satisfaction trophy. The 1992 winner over every other car on the road, Toyota Camry. Again. The fact is, over the award's 10-year history, Toyota has won 7 times. We promise to do even better over the next 10 years.
Every day at Esso, we go to extremes. From desert heat to -40. Quality is essential to us. It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of care.
Our gasoline goes through at least 16 different quality control tests. Nothing is left to chance. Quality is too important. From the first test to the last stop.
At Esso, you can count on all of us for the quality of our products.
Arnold and Cynthia sleep a lot easier now that they don't worry as much about mortgage rates. The Canada Trust split-level mortgage lets you sleep easier whether rates go up or down. And now you can get a 1% rate reduction for 6 months. If your mortgage is renewing or you're buying a home, talk to us. You can't get split-level anywhere else. Then you can sleep easier too. Call Canada Trust, 1-800-668-8888.
After a golden performance at the Olympics, Canada's teams are off to Denver, Colorado for the Short Track Speed Skating Championships. And in Paris, the World Individual Gymnastics Championship on CBC Sports Weekend, Saturday.
All right. Ron McLean and Don Cherry here with a lucky number for a $500 gift certificate from Canadian Tire and a chance to join us for the first 4 games of the Stanley Cup Final.
Should be good ones. And the number is this number right here.
What happened last time?
Listen, let me tell you something. Mr. and Mrs. Blue won. If Mr. and Mrs. Cherry win, we're all in trouble here.
What's the number?
All right, 2, 5, 4, 8, 8, 1, 9.
And if you have only the last 5 digits of that number, you could still win.
Yes. What?
A Molson Canadian Hockey Home Viewers Kit.
All right.
As well, we have the mail-in portion of our competition.
All right.
Please
Down we go.
And a chance
In we pull out.
Okie doke. $500 gift certificate. Canadian Tire goes to...
Certificate.
Yes, certificate. Thank you for your enunciation lessons. Gary Garine of Shellbrook, Saskatchewan. Congratulations, Gary. One of the great moments in Jet history, April 10, 1990, Game 4 of the Oilers-Jet series. Dave Ellett's goal in double overtime gave the Jets a 3-1 series lead. The Oilers, as you may remember, rallied to win that series en route to the Stanley Cup. Tomorrow night, our coverage continues from the Forum in Montreal. It's the Canadians and the Whalers at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Don and I will be along to recap highlights from around the Wales Conference, and then our next telecast is from the arena in Winnipeg. In between those 2 times, it's really 7:30 local time that fans in Winnipeg care about as they get set to see their Jets and the Vancouver Canucks in Game 3 of the Smythe Division semifinal series. 2-1 Vancouver here. Live, this is Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC.
the best rust protection in the business. Over 93% of all Chevy full-size pickups sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. Chevrolet. Trucks you can depend on. Trucks that last.
Who's the giant of the tire industry when it comes to replacement radials? Well, if you think it's Firestone, brace yourself. Michelin or Goodyear, think again. Because you're in for some news that's rather earth-shaking. The best-selling replacement radials in Canada are Motomaster from Canadian Tire. For safety and performance, it's Motomaster, Canada's #1 radial by a landslide. Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement tires.
I'm a big man.
Why do so many men stick with Bic?
I'm a big man.
Because there's a Bic for every beard. Bic Regular, a great shave at a great price.
I'm a big man.
Bic Sensitive, Bic Baby's tender skin. Bic Metal, slim head, total control.
Yeah, I'm a big man.
I'm a big man.
Regular, sensitive, metal.
I'm a big man.
Molson Special Dry, the evolution of beer.
Beautiful shot outside the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, BC, as we come inside for period number 3 of Game 2. The Canucks leading by 1 in the exact same spot they were in Game 1 after 40 minutes of play. Here's our game within a game. Bill Housley averaging 8 minutes and change per period through the first 2.
And Pavel Bure just over 7, and he sat for the early part of the second period and then played a lot in the last 10 minutes. And the Trevor Linden line has played a lot better. Linden got a goal on a power play when he was out there without his line mates, but they played better. And the hits, the Canucks out hitting the Jets almost 2-1 in that second period. I think they're wearing them down a little bit. The Jets played a good, disciplined game in Game 1, and here in Game 2, in the first half of the game. But in the last 10 minutes of the second period, Eddie Olczyk back and looks to be a little more alert now. I don't know whether the way he skated off, Chris, it was almost like he had his bell rung and that he was a little woozy. Seems to be all right now as he skated around okay under his own strength and sitting on the Jet bench. And the Jets need Eddie Olczyk. As much as he looks invisible some nights, he looks invisible for 55 minutes, and then for the 5 minutes, he's got 2 goals and an assist.
Here's the go-ahead goal by Trevor Linden on the power play in the second period.
Greg Adams still never got an assist, but he did tip that one, as we saw, and then Trevor Linden got the rebound and put it by Rick Tabaracci. Adrian Plazic was credited with the assist as he threw it across to Jyrki Lume for the original shot.
And the Canucks start period 3 with the man advantage. Ronning, Linden, Momesso up front. Dave Babich has had a strong game along with Lume on the points. It's Phil Sykes, Mike Eagles along with Newman and Ulanov. There's Momesso with a shot wide. He goes over to get it, wraps it past Lume down the ice. Saturday night, it was only the second time in 32 opportunities this year that the Vancouver Canucks squandered a lead in the third and lost. Try to make sure it doesn't happen again here tonight in Game 2. Here's Murray. Up to Shannon, kept in by Ronning. Jets back at full strength. Lume moves up, working against Ulanov, but Ulanov makes the defensive play. To Murray. Clears it down the ice. Shannon gives chase against Momesso, who rides him up. Murray bumps Lume, gets the puck, back to Housley, tees it up, shot deflected. Shannon after it against Momesso. Murray couldn't bring it down, and it's Lume. Off the boards, and Housley takes it at center. Andy Carlisle clears it back in, and Babich is there. Jets make a change. Babich lead pass, too far for Lariano. Kachuk also on the ice, so he's all right. And the Jets have 6 men on the ice, and here comes the call. louder than that. Everyone in the building noticed that one.
And there's going to be a tripping penalty called also by referee Don Koharski.
Looked like Kachuk started to the bench and then stayed out.
There's 4 now. It looks like a line change. There's 5, and Troy Murray is right there for the 6th man. And Pavel Bure took a tripping penalty after there was too many men on the ice, and there's no power play opportunity for the Vancouver Canucks. Now watch the trip. Kachuk watching Bure, watching him. Now right here, the slew foot. And Kachuk goes down in a heap. Most players don't mind being tripped from the side with the stick or being tripped from in front with the foot. But when you get kicked from behind, you're pretty defenseless. You don't see it coming and you fall backwards, and either your tailbone or the back of your head hits the ice.
So John Paddock's team gets a break there. Looked like they'd be a man short. And it wasn't just a case of a little confusion at the bench. There were 6 skaters on the ice for about 10 seconds.
And they still couldn't get control of the puck.
Larry Otto in this face-off with Thomas Steen. Steen wins it back to Newman. To Davidoff. Jim Sandlak bumped by Lawler. Sandlak's been hurt. You could just tell by the way he went down. That a collision with Lawler and Sandlak.
Points at Lawler. Bill Rochelle's getting his share of ice time. The 3rd time tonight he's been on the ice, and he's out to tend to Jim Sandlak. Sandlak with the hit on Davidoff, and here comes Lawler. And right there gets the knee into Sandlak's knee, and down goes Sandlak.
He's been a force so far in this series.
He and Sergio Momesso have both played well and played very aggressively.
Well, he's putting some weight on it. That's a good sign. He seems more concerned with Lawler than the knee right now, but still showing the effects of it.
He's able to walk at the bench.
They don't want to lose him. So power forward, 6'4", 220.
Walking,
bigger.
He's walking towards the dressing room, and Larry Ashley is leading the way as Sandlak heads to the dressing room. All the way, he's putting weight on it.
Kind of a strange start to this 3rd period. Minute 47 gone. Ulanoff bumped by Linden. Cleared in. McLean fields it for Plavsic. Steen forechecking. Up to Linden, bumped by Davidoff. Fergus gets it out. Olczyk back on the ice, so he's okay. Steen drops for Olczyk, who clears it off the glass and in. Linden. Ulanoff pinching in. Looking for the loose puck. Now bumps Fergus. Come up with it. Kortko hands it to Plavsic. He hits the line. And was checked on the play. Linden knocks his man. And the Jets just iced the puck.
He tried to hit Eddie Olczyk, who was in behind the Canucks defense again.
Tonight's game coming to you from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver.
Admiration for the civil engineers of the world who carved these exhilarating
undulating paths from the face of the earth, the engineers at Honda present an object to truly enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Look at the shots in this game, 28 to 22, and the saves. Quality of scoring chances I don't think are as high as game one. Both goaltenders again playing well, but not tested with the quality of shots that we saw in game one with all the power plays in that game.
Face off in the Winnipeg zone. Ryan Walter. Robert Trott and Gary Falk getting a rare shift. The Jets win the draw quickly. Darren Shannon speaks to center ice. He's out there with Murray and Broughton. Now Murray goes to the bench. Pat Elnick comes on. Falk. Here's the screen. Foul. Broughton scores! Well, the Jets have been opportunistic throughout the first two games, and Broughton pounced on that.
Some good forechecking by Darren Shannon. And the Jets get a bounce. Now watch Aaron Broughton. He's the most surprised guy in the building. The puck comes around and right out in front. And there he is. You can see Gerald Diddick is looking for it to go all the way around, and it doesn't. Comes off the boards. Kirk McLean is surprised he can't get set. And this is one of the few times all night we haven't seen Kirk McLean square on his feet, set for the shot. Broughton just slipped.
Aaron Broughton with the unassisted goal at 2:53. The Jets scoring quickly in the third, not quite as quickly as they did in game one, but they have tied it. There's a shot right on as they threaten the Canucks again. Broughton has his fourth goal in the last 5 games, and John Paddock and the Jets bench is a little more life.
You saw a little smile on John Paddock's face as Aaron Broughton banged that one in. And players hot at the end of the season. Aaron Broughton was one of them, had 6 points in the last 6 games. Now here's another look. Off the boards, and look at Kirk McLean. Goes right through the crease. Diddick expected the puck to go around behind the net. And there's Aaron Broughton. And from not reporting to St. John's in the American League, a chance to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs and bang in a tying goal.
This is what the Jets can do to you, though. They can stay close, and then they'll cash in their chances. That's what happened in game one. Here's a chance in the weak backhand, handled easily by McLean. Ronning flips to center. But there has to be some anxious moments now at the Vancouver bench, but they do have good news. Jim Sandlak's back on the ice. Looks like he's laboring a little bit, but it's great to see him back.
For the last time, name the secret ingredient that gives Diet Pepsi an unfair advantage. Well, what is it?
It's like this, baby. You know it's cause the taste is, baby. You got the right one, baby.
With 100%
Thomas Dean and Sergio Momesso. Now look at Momesso, the good solid hit on Dean, and then gets the stick up. And no penalty called by Don Kowarski on that one as the fans are involved. They were involved about halfway through the second period. They got it cranked up again. Look at David Tiger Williams and his son Ben sitting beside him in the red jacket. Look at Ben. When Tiger played in L.A., Ben was a superstar in the minor hockey. Here he plays in the North Van Minor Hockey Association. One of the many Canadian minor hockey players.
Tiger would like to take a shift about now. 16:20 to go. Third period and a 2-2 tie in what has to be regarded as a must-win game for the Canucks. They've outshot Winnipeg 28-25, and at times in the game have looked like they've been in control, but the Jets are sticking to them like glue. Ulanov back to touch this, and he sings the call against Vancouver.
A few bluebirds in the stands. Igor Ulanov with the full cage on hasn't been been as effective tonight as he was in Game 1, and I'm sure it's a little harder to see out of that. He does wear a shield normally.
One of the assets of the Russian players is their conditioning. He reported to Winnipeg. They tested him, and he had 6.5% body fat, which is the lowest on the team.
Richard Brodeur and I always used to test in that range. So the 26.5. Look at Kirk McLean, and he has played well again tonight, but got that bad bounce, and Aaron Broughton beat him. From both frames, both goaltenders solid again.
Chris Draper on this face-off against Tom Fergus.
It almost looked like the Canucks had worn down the Jets a little bit, but now the Jets have that added life from the good bounce, and it's the Canucks who are icing the puck and a little bit back on their heels.
Draper almost stole that puck right from the face-off. It's interesting that Pat Quinn put the onus on the Fergus line to score in Game 2. They have the 2 goals, Fergus and Linden, and yet they're in another tight one. Tonight, the other line's not scoring. Jets clear it back in. Chuck and Broughton, 2 American goal scorers for Winnipeg tonight. Here's Trevor Linden. Wheels to the line and around Davidoff. Linden drops it. Plavsic the shot, and that deflects high. Now Newman starts Winnipeg back. This Kachuk with the pass. Lister feeds it ahead. Here's Linden. Fortnell was free, and Linden couldn't get the pass by Lawler. Kachuk rinked wide. Davidoff's there. McLean under the goal. Feeds it up to Fergus. Fergus with Fortnell and Linden hit the line, but they can't break through. Draper with a good move. Steps over the red line and feeds it in.
And again, the Jets almost got caught with too many men on the ice. Thomas Steen jumped off just in time as Steve Kachuk played the puck.
And the Canucks almost got caught there, giving away the puck again in their own zone. And Pat Quinn's not happy about that.
The only former Oiler not to score in Los Angeles is Wayne Gretzky now, but he has 3 assists. It's been a key all night for the Los Angeles Kings. Here he sets up Yari Curry for his 93rd career playoff goal, and it's 7-4 L.A.
Trevor Linden playing with a lot more confidence tonight. Here you see an example of it. Look at him carry the puck, and he's skating. And that's something he hasn't been doing in the last 3 weeks, is using his good skating ability.
Dave Babbitt in his own zone, hands it off to Gerald Diddick. Here they come, Lariana. Passes right side. Diddick shot right on. Troy Murray dumped as he fielded the rebound. And really hit by Bure. Bure took a run at Murray, and he'll be going off. Well, he took more than a few steps to line up the Jet captain. And this is not the time Pat Quinn wanted his team a man short.
In a 2-2 tie in the 3rd period, down again. Now watch Bure and Sykes. And Sykes is right on Bure, and this could be a little frustration on the part of Pavel Bure. Now here's a little shot by Sykes in the back of the head. Now watch Bure on Troy Murray. 1, 2, 3. Now look at the elbows. The elbow right in the side of the head of Troy Murray. One of the reasons Gino Ojic hasn't dressed for a playoff game is he was taking untimely penalties. I have to say Pavel Bure just took an untimely penalty, although I'm sure Pavel Bure's importance offensively is a little more than Gino Ojic's. Bill Sykes has that ability. You talked about him shadowing Gretzky when Gretzky was with the Oilers. He used to drive Gretzky crazy, much like Tikkanen drove Gretzky crazy, because he'd always be there, always have his stick in your feet, doing the same thing on Pavel Bure.
Winnipeg Jets go back on the power play. 0 for 4 tonight. 2 for 10 in the series. Olsen flips it in. Steen gives chase, but the Canucks go right back down the ice. Housley and Olsen. Elmer, Kachuk, and Steen. Inside the line, Steen has it, but offside called by linesman Pat DiPuzzo.
The Jets don't like that call. You see Thomas Steen, he's talking to Don Koharski about after the whistle, but Pat DiPuzzo was right on the line, made the call. don't think he likes the leadership #1 role, and with Troy Murray on this team, Steen is the second centerman, as you said, Chris, and it takes some of the pressure off, and he seems to play better when he's not looked upon as their #1 guy and their leader.
That 9-game point streak you saw in jeopardy here with 13:44 to go in the third period. Olsen starts the rush. Passes to Steen. Couldn't control it. Kept in by Elnick. Lume breaks that up and neatly skates out of the zone. Right side it goes to Walter. Walter shot through a screen, and Tabaracci had to be alert.
And Tabaracci has words for Gary Volk as Volk drove to the net. Good job by Jyrki Lume. He's had a strong game tonight. More of a factor than he was in game 1. And again, Tabaracci solid in net as Ryan Walter took that shot through the defenseman's legs. Here's the shot. Now right through Frederick Olafson's legs, but look at Tabaracci. Square to the play, gets the legs closed, and there's Gary Volk trying to kick the puck out from under Tabaracci's glove.
1:04 to go in this power play. Ryan Walter will turn 34 on Thursday. David Burnaby conferring with Troy Gamble, the backup goaltender.
Ryan Walter is one of the few players who came out of the strike not being abused by the fans, handled himself very well, very professionally, and he was one of the few players who drew some sympathy from the fans.
NHLPA Vice President Kirk McLean told me the other day that Ryan Walter's like a player coach on this team. Such a leader, and even during the intermissions will even get up to the chalkboard. Numanen. Olchuk flips it in. Darren Shannon's out. Troy Murray after it against Plavsic. Plavsic goes down. Shannon has the loose puck. Olchuk at the doorstep. Murray lost his balance and lost control. 37 seconds to go in a Winnipeg power play that's been stuttering tonight. Owsley fires it in. Trevor Linden's on the ice. Shannon has it for Winnipeg. Behind the goal to Olchuk. Off the boards to Numanen. Watched by Linden. Broken up by Plavsic. Kept in by Numanen. Murray almost got hit with that. And out comes Fergus. Linden on his left side. Working against Owsley. Fergus takes a look. Just lets go. 12:17 to go, and the penalty over. Owsley clears it back in wide of McLean. Did it around the boards. Bure back on the ice, and here he goes. 3-on-2 with Babbage and Larionov. Bure works in, shoots, and Tabaracci the stop. Kachuk goes the other way. Kachuk turns by Gerald Diddick. Kachuk, big stop there by McLean. Nice move by the rookie of the Jets. So chances for rookies at either end.
Everybody thought there was going to be an icing call, but it was really a two-line pass, and the icing was waved off.
Shannon chops at it out to center. Lume's there. Look out, Chris Draper steals it. Draper couldn't get control. Larionov starts back for the Canucks. They're starting to open it up a bit here. Looking for the go-ahead goal. Larionov in front. Lume scores! chance for Momesso, just cleared away by Olsen. Shot right on. Sandlak reaches for the rebound, and Ulanov gains control. But it goes to center ice. Steen can't catch up with it. Ronning turns back with Jim Sandlak. Ronning works it wide of the goal. Cleared by Tabarachi to Steen. Left by Momesso. Olsen. Checked by Ronning. Dave Babbitt back in. Hands it off to Linden. Linden to Momesso. Oh, just off the glove of Tabarachi. Linden out there with Ronning and Momesso. Ulanov for Winnipeg. Clears it up to Davidoff. Fans responding to a good chip here by the Canucks. Babbitt back in. Ulanov around the boards. Duke to Chuck. He's been dangerous. Trevor Linden clears it up into the crowd. And the fans respond here.
Nothing stands by you stronger than a truck from Chevrolet. Trucks you can depend on. Trucks that last.
The Los Angeles Kings have scored 5 unanswered goals against the Oilers. Here's one of the prettiest of the night. John McIntyre and Mike Donnelly combined with a give and go, and it's Donnelly scoring the goal. 7 minutes into period 3, it's Los Angeles 8, Edmonton 4.
Here it's a tight fit. Vancouver leading 3-2. And we'd now like to welcome viewers of Sports Channel America to the Pacific Coliseum, where the fans are enjoying a 1-goal Canuck lead. Jyrki Lume scored at 8:47 of the third period on a great feed from Igor Larionov as the Canucks try to even this series at a game apiece. Vancouver out shooting Winnipeg 34-26. A more wide-open hockey game than Game 1.
Or than the Winnipeg Jets would like to play. They like to shut the Canucks down and play that dull, tighter checking style of game.
Newman shot wide, and Linden, the captain, who has a goal tonight, feeds it ahead to Jyrki Lume. Mike Waller in the corner against Fergus. They battle for it. It comes to the near side. Newman ahead to Tkachuk. He has a goal for the Jets. Cleared in by Lawler. Tkachuk is after it. Taken to the boards by Lume. Dirk on the far side. He's bumped on the play by Lawler. Elnick cross ice to Tkachuk. Tkachuk, weak shot, handled by McLean, and he'll hold on. 8:53 left in the third period at the Pacific Coliseum.
Something else till you make the time, yeah. Real high is the bottom line, high. Cold and clear, break through. When you're done doing what you do.
OB, clear, cold, real life beer.
For those of you just joining us, here's how the scoring's unfolded. Tom Fergus scoring in the first to give the Canucks a 1-0 lead. Second period, Tkachuk tied it before Trevor Linden scored on the power play. His first of the series made it 2-1 after 2. Jets got an opportunistic goal from Aaron Broughton to tie it early in the third, but Jyrki Lume's goal from Larionov has Vancouver back in front. 3-2 with 8:53 to go.
Jets played pretty well at the start of the second period, but the Canucks took over and have been out-hitting and out-shooting the Canucks. Canucks only fired 19 shots in Game 1, have 34 already here in Game 2.
Ryan Walter on this face-off against Mike Eagles, still battling for control. Finally, under the scrum, Hartley whacks out. Carlisle pitches in, and it's cleared by him down who has not been a big factor tonight. Yet, goes back for Winnipeg. Ahead to Sykes. Lead pass for Hartman, working against Plavsic. Over for Eagles. He was tied up by Walter. Walter's not going to let his man get away as he knocks Eagles down. Hartman has it. Back to Carlisle. Shot kicked out by McLean. Went up in the air and down into the corner. And there's still a pile up by McLean as the Canucks come out. Gary Ball clears it into the Jet zone. And Housley takes a look. He might go with it. Housley to the center ice zone. Turned back by Ball. Now feeds it ahead. Hartman to the line. Hit Larionov. Hit the vault at the end of a shift, so he'll just head to the bench.
Canucks have done a good job not letting Phil Housley get any speed up tonight. He's been a non-factor through 2 periods and 13 minutes.
Murray's pass too far for Shannon. Touched by Diddick, icing the call against Winnipeg. 7:36 left in a 1-goal game.
You can go as far as your heart can see, beyond any road that you want to be, 'cause it's your day.
Bright lights of Vancouver, and the Stars have been shining for the Kings in Los Angeles tonight. An 8-4 lead in the third as they look like they'll tie that series. The North Stars taking a 2-0 lead in that Norris semi back to Bloomington. And St. Louis has evened their series and gained home ice advantage against the Blackhawks with a win at the Chicago Stadium tonight. Here, 1 goal the difference between the Canucks and the Jets as Vancouver tries to even this Smythe semifinal.
All those people in the playoff pool will be happy to see a high score for a change. Game night 1 of the playoffs and night 2, both low-scoring affairs all around the league. Cool people glad to see those 12 goals.
The face-off, Larionov goes after it. Lawler gets there first. Draper and Adams in the corner. Larionov bumps his man Lawler, who gets the stick up and wrestles Larionov down. You can hear the crowd responding, but out come the Jets. Troy Murray at center. Hit the line, cleared it in. Shannon against Babbage. Babbage up ahead to Adams. Larionov, and here they come. Diddick with the play. Bure was knocked down. Babbage keeps it in. Here's the shot weakly. In on net. No problem for Tabaracci there. Draper outlets to Murray. At center ice for Shannon. Babbage sending it back in for Vancouver.
Canucks have done a much better job. Their defensemen covering up for each other. That time Diddick stood up and Babbage stayed back defensive.
Durkin, Lulinov all lined up. Here's Ronning moving in. Can't get the shot away as Lawler made the defensive play and Kachuk on Ronning. Lume shot high. They're starting to whack each other now. Lulinov bumps Momesso. Lawler knocks his man down. Bure and Kachuk. And here come the Jets out of the zone, led by Thomas Steen. Steen working in on Lume. Lume won't let him get by. Sergio Momesso, right wing to Sandlak. Rolls in on Tabaracci with 6 minutes to go. Lulinov knocked down again. Broughton off the boards. Momesso fires back in. Sandlak running. Momesso for Vancouver. There goes Lulinov again. Is that a rough shift? Momesso. Pinned by Lulinov. Ronning helps out. Ronning taken to the boards. Bumped twice, and here comes the call. Shannon took him out once and then belted him again.
And it was a left hand by Shannon. The hit was all right, but it was when he gave Ronning the left hand he took the penalty.
This hour's something else till you make the time, yeah. Real life is the bottom line.
roughing penalty at 14:25, and when you're down a goal, you have to stay at even strength. Now, the original hit's all right, but watch the left hand here. Right there, he gives him a little extra shot, and that's the roughing penalty. Here's Mike Lawler on Cliff Ronning, a good solid hit behind the net. And there's Murray, and watch Chris Draper. And Murray has to stick up. And look at Murray in self-defense. And Lawler and Lariana both tied up. This series getting a lot more physical and a lot more emotional.
This crowd pumped up at the Pacific Coliseum. As the Canucks go back on the power play. 1 for 6 with the man advantage in this game. 1 for 12 in the series. Lume leads the run. Linden, Adams, running up front. Lapsick, the other point man. Eagles incites the penalty killers. Here's Adams in front. Lost control. Eagles chops at it and gets it out. Adams turns. 4 shots on goal in the second period alone for Adams, but he doesn't get a chance to shoot there.
Two different combinations on the power play. Adams, Ronning, and Linden this time for the Vancouver Canucks was successful. Their only goal was the same combination.
Lume ahead to Adams, in behind Housley, who hooks at him. Linden helps out. Back to Lume. Lume shot. Tabaracci kicked it out. It went high in the air. Knocked back to the point. Lapsick winds up, and there's a great glove save by Rick Tabaracci. Linden was belted as Tabaracci made the stop, and Ronning goes to his defense.
Linden was off balance, and it was Teppo Newman that just gave him a little shove, but because he was on his heels, it looked worse than it was. Tabaracci with another strong game, and should the Winnipeg Jets lose this one, and you're John Paddock, what do? You come back with Tabaracci? I think so. Here's the leg save, goes up in the air, and Newman and Housley are swinging at it. Newman makes contact. And here's a glove save. Again, Tabaracci square, out well, gets the left hand out, and there's Linden right in his face.
It's interesting the way the fortunes of goaltenders can change in Moncton this year. He had a record of 1 below 500, and here he is playing a key role for the Jets in the playoffs. 34 saves so far tonight. 3-2 Vancouver. 58 seconds to go in the man advantage. And Murray wraps it down. Bure on the ice. Larionov and Sandlak, who's cruising around past the red line. Babbage can't handle the pass. Lume follows up. Dumps it in, but Olsen quickly gets it out.
Again, the Canucks trying to gain control and gain the line with control instead of shooting it in. The Jets doing a good job standing up at the blue line.
Here's Igor with Lume breaking on the right side, working in, shot right on. Broughton chopped at it, and I think Bure got the stick after that swing by Broughton. Ahead it goes to Sandlak. Broughton cuts him off. Housley turns, jet penalty about to expire. Bure goes to the bench. Ronning turning for Vancouver. Pounded by Shannon. Shakes off him, puts it behind the goal. Tabaracci left it, but there's Ronning. Out in front, and the pass was broken up. Murray doesn't like what he sees and just sends it down. Lister touches it, and there's an icing call against Winnipeg. We have 3:08 left in the third period, and Doug Lister and the Canucks nursing the lead. Back at the Pacific Coliseum for what should be a great finish in Game 2 of this Smythe semifinal. Third period, 8-5, Kings leading the Oilers. Martin Jelena has the 5th goal for Edmonton.
Again, the Canucks with that power play opportunity late in the game to put it away and just can't get any good scoring opportunities on Rick Tabaracci.
outside the line. In only 3 meetings, there's a big hit by Trevor Linden on Ulanov, who goes right back at Linden. Housley, watched by Momesso. Kachuk gives it away. Here's Linden in front, and it hopped over his stick. Linden now seeing a lot of ice time with Ronning and Momesso. Ronning in front, and he just missed it. Ronning behind the goal. There's Momesso, puts it in front. And Steen coolly clears. Thomas Steen hits the line. Knocked down. And Lidster bumped by Kachuk, and it's over the glass out of play. But the big Canuck forwards starting to exert their force.
Trevor Linden with a very strong game tonight, and some people were wondering what happened to Trevor Linden. All the strike controversy and his play on the ice was affected by it. His line didn't play well, but tonight he played very well. Now look at this hit on Igor Ulanov. Almost puts him into the Jet bench. Created a couple of goals by driving to the net there. The puck bounced over his stick. Back on Ulanov. That's the one thing the Jets like about Ulanov is that he can get hits, he bounces back and dishes out as much as he takes. Linden very close to his eye. Yeah, or has to lift it over.
I don't know, maybe what Grape said in the first intermission got him going. He certainly has shown his value tonight. Power of strength for the Canucks. One of the goals, 3-2 Vancouver lead, 2:18 left. Taken out by Ryan Walter. Here's Shannon clearing it in as he was knocked down. Broughton hits his man. Pat Elnick's on the ice for Winnipeg. He's got a great scoring touch as the Jets look for the tying goal. Race forward between Lawler and Volk, and Tabaracci clears to center. Walter's watching Elnick. Walter almost stole it. Now it's Newman. Sending it in. Shannon. Hopped on the back of Tron. Jets change it up. Steen over the boards. Troy Murray's up. There's Tron, the shot right on it. Now it's down to 90 seconds left in regulation time. Winnipeg still looking for the equalizer. Housley starts the rush. Broken up by Babbage. Bure's on the move. Bure against Ulanov with the shot high, wide. Falls down. Bure picks up the loose puck. Adams in front. Here's Adams. Shoots. Rebound. Tabaracci. What a great chance for Greg Adams. Now under a minute to go in the third period, and the fans respond. Steen. Housley can't find it. Diddick clears it back in. Running on him. Adams to the line. Ulanov clears it ahead. Back to Ulanov. Broken up by Bure. Adrian Plastic with a half minute to go.
Jets can't get control and get Tabaracci out of the net. Tabaracci giving them a chance to make it even with that save on Greg Adams.
Here he comes as Broughton clears it in. Jets get to it. Broughton. Running chops at it. The extra attacker is out. Momesso flips it high. Ulanov keeps it in. Broken up by Roddick. Broughton has to turn back. Net is empty. Countdown's on. Jets don't have time. And this series is even.
A crowd appreciative of the play of the Vancouver Canucks, and they're guaranteed at least one more game back here at the Pacific Coliseum.
in the crowd. And now they've got it sorted out.
And now John Paddock is trying to get Don Koharski. He wants some of the suspensions here that could be possible. And here's how it all starts.
Sandlak going after Elnick.
And in comes Keith Tkachuk. And in comes the rest of the Canucks. Robert Dirk. And look at John Paddock. He's on the Jets bench. He's saying, hey, I had all my guys standing right here. Now, how about the Canucks, who had all their guys on the ice? Now, Don Koharski is...
Trying to get the Jets to their room. The Canucks now have pretty well all gone to their dressing room, but for 3 players, nobody's left the Jets bench.
A strong physical game by the Vancouver Canucks, and it's too bad that it ended this way. They played a good, strong physical game. They used their size. Trevor Linden had a great game. He bounced back. Sure played like the leader that he really is.
Sure sets the tone for Game 3, though. Look at the intensity on Randy Carlyle's face, and Don Koharski and Pat DiFuzzo will try and sort this out.
They're still talking to Bob Hodges about it. Randy Carlyle, now Hodges goes over to help Koharski and DiFuzzo. As you say, try and settle it out. Housley and Murray are the only 2 Jets on the ice.
Well, will this mean somebody misses Game 3? You won't want to miss it after that. And after a super hockey game, particularly the final 40 minutes. As the Canucks even the series, but the Jets get their split. 41-28 were the shots on goal. Don Koharski continues to sort things out. The final score, Vancouver 3, Winnipeg 2, the series tied at 1.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC was brought to you by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates, you're on your way with Esso. And by Pepsi, gotta have it.
Sears just lowered one of the high costs of raising kids. Every one of these kids' beds is on sale at half price. Rest easy with half-price savings from Sears. Your money's worth and more.
Whether you're riding for pure fun or to put yourself to the test, you want your miles to be trouble-free. At Athletes Wear, we've got a great selection of bikes, all with a 1-year guarantee. Like the CCM Model 200 mountain bike. Features Shimano gears for ease of shifting and comes professionally assembled with a free kickstand. Athletes Wear saves you $46 off the regular price. Make the right choice. Athletes Wear. Now with 3 great locations, all open Sundays. 145 Market, Pembina at Grant, and 860 St. James Street across from the stadium.
Corporations are proud sponsors and partners with Canada 125 in encouraging Canadians everywhere to celebrate Canada's 125th anniversary in their communities. Canada 125. Join in the celebration.
Look at me. Enjoying an apple. Thanks to Super Polygrip.
Super Polygrip forms a seal that holds so tight, many denture wearers can enjoy more of their favorite foods.
Even apples.
Super Polygrip.
Available in Winnipeg at N. Gooch, the bicycle specialists. Sears just lowered one of the high costs of raising kids. Every one of these kids' beds is on sale at half price. Rest easy with half-price savings from Sears. Your money's worth and more.
The Molson 3 stars in the game. Canucks captain Trevor Linden, star number 1. The second star, Keith Tkachuk, fighting to the bitter end for Winnipeg. And the third star this evening with the game-winning goal at 8:47, Jyrki Lumme. The Canucks 3, the Jets 2. The series is tied 1-1. Stay tuned for more on Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC in a moment.
Our ongoing coverage of the new Saturday developments in Winnipeg, Canada.
In a community where the people have witnessed the total eclipse of the sun every Saturday for nearly 12 years, a new Saturday sun has arrived and changed people's lives. For the better, they tell us.
It's got a lot of local Manitoba news. That's what I look for in these.
I read Laurie Mustard. He seems to know where it's at around town.
Let's put it this way. There is no better sports coverage any day. This is as good as it gets.
My, oh my, Saturday's paper.
I'm Stu Jeffries, and as you know, there's nothing quite like kicking back after a hard week's work and letting someone else entertain you. I want to be that someone this Friday. Fabulous musical lineup for you. That includes the latest from Metallica, Kenny Loggins, Kim Mitchell, ZZ Top, Weird Al Yankovic, Enya, Buffy St. Marie. Also, a new Paramount Pictures trivia contest to win one of these movies. Our regular features include our usual comprehensive countdown of the top 20 singles and CDs, what's on, what's news, and anything else we can throw in. So we'll see you here this Friday for another rip-roaring edition of Good Rockin' Tonight.
We have liftoff.
Fun.
It's cool.
It's one of a kind.
It's a pig?
No, it's street scent.
That's my word of advice for extras.
I thought it was pretty fresh.
Really cool. You have to see it.
It does real and different fake.
I think it's just another marketing strategy.
These shoes